Chapter 538. Impossible. Suddenly, a scream came out from the yellow smoke. It was Xu Wulong's scream. In just a few breaths, the poisonous gas that burst out of his body was burned away by the flame. Nothing was left. The trump card that it was so proud of was completely useless in front of this human. My pre-celestial poison bomb is a trump card refined from 108 different poisons in the world. It took the Weasel clan 49 days to refine it. Xu Wulong stared at Xia Ping and said, "Ordinary flames have no effect on my innate poison qi bomb, let alone completely incinerate it. What kind of fire qigong did you cultivate?" It was well aware that ordinary flame energy arts wouldn't be able to incinerate its pre-heaven toxic energy bullets, much less nullify its trump card. "Go ask your father." Xia Ping's eyes flashed with a hint of coldness. His pure yang immortal incantation was running inside his body. His qigong vibrated, and his tyrannical true yuan rose up. The flames in the air were distorted. No slap palm. Immediately he slapped out with his palm. His right palm was imbued with powerful inner qi. It tore through the air like a roaring dragon, producing an incomparably ferocious power. Damn it! Xu Wulong felt a deadly threat. He quickly circulated his demon qi and set up more than a dozen layers of Zhenyuan in front of him. These layers of Zhenyuan were like turtles. This was the demon clan's defensive qigong, Black Tortoise Vacuum Art. It was a demon clan's qigong that imitated the turtle clan's defensive bloodline talent. Once it was used, it could resist an attack that was stronger than the user's own. Dong. In the blink of an eye, a palm slapped on Xu Wulong's qi shield. "Ah, it's useless. My Black Tortoise Vacuum Art is one of the best defensive qigong in the world. Even if your strength is unparalleled, you can't penetrate my defense. Fuck, what's going on?" Xu Wulong didn't wait for Xu Wulong to finish his complacency. He felt that the palm had hit his true yuan shield, and the air immediately vibrated for thousands of times, containing the power of the strongest and fiercest. It was like being hit by a violent rhinoceros. In a flash, more than 10 layers of true yuan qigong were smashed. The airflow spread in all directions. Immediately, Xu Wulong couldn't help but let out a shrill scream. His chest was hit by Xia Ping's palm, and a solid palm print immediately appeared. It flew backward for hundreds of meters before finally smashing into a concrete wall of the training ground. It immediately sank deep into the wall, cracking it and sending rubble flying in all directions. It couldn't help but spit out a large mouthful of blood. Its internal organs were heavily injured, and even more than a dozen bones in its body were broken. It was an extremely miserable sight. "Lost, Shugoro really lost. Since I said 3 moves, I'll do it. You're really not being careless. If I miss even 1 move, I'll be angry with you." Xu Wulong lost so miserably. He was simply suppressed and beaten like a dog. Even the famous defensive qigong of the demon folk, the mystic tortoise true void incantation, can't block it. This Xia Ping's palm strength is astonishing. Even the legendary dragon subduing palm is nothing more than this. Haha, it's really fun. Before it was arrogant and domineering, saying that Yanhuang University has no one, but now it's beaten to such a state. I want to see what it can say later. What else can it say? It can be arrogant if it wins, but it can't be stubborn if it loses. The winner is the king and the loser is the bandit. This Xia Ping is simply abnormal. It hasn't been long since he became an elite student, but now he has such a level of strength. Many elite students watched the result of the battle and all of them were stunned. They didn't expect that Xia Ping could really defeat Xu Wulong, and it was an overwhelming victory. Even the students who were most optimistic about Xia Ping didn't expect such a thing to happen. This bastard. A group of demon geniuses' faces were also gloomy, and they couldn't help but clench their fists. Xu Wulong was defeated, which was far beyond their expectations. It was completely different from their previous plan. And the strength of this human, Xia Ping, was a little beyond their imagination. What bullshit Black Tortoise Vacuum technique? It's a powerful defensive qigong. Now it seems that it's simply fragile and it can be broken with 1 palm. Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back, looking down at Xu Wulong who was beaten down. "Xu Wulong, what else do you have to say? You're not good at learning and you want to challenge others? Aren't you afraid of being laughed at? Now do you know how big this world is? Remember, when you meet me in the future, remember to be humble and also bow respectfully 3 times and 9 times. He looked at Xu Wulong with contempt. Xu Wulong was so angry that his face turned red, just like a cooked bun. After being scolded by Xia Ping, he felt like he had been slapped a dozen times in a row, and his face was now burning with pain. Before, he was still arrogant, and in front of everyone he said that Xia Ping could not withstand a single blow, and he could be easily defeated. But now he used all his skills and even used his trump card, but he was still not the opponent of this human. He was beaten down by one palm and fell to the ground, unable to move. For the arrogant Xu Wulong, this was simply an indelible shame. You? Are you still not convinced and you want me to continue to give you pointers? Xia Ping squinted at him. If you have the guts, stand up now, this time I will let you use both of my hands. Stand up my ass. Xu Wulong was so angry that his head was a little dizzy. Now he was seriously injured by Xia Ping, and his internal organs were severely damaged. How could he have the strength to stand up and even the strength to speak? But this guy said that if he had the guts, he would stand up and let him use both of his hands. It was clear that he was humiliating him in public. Xu Wulong, the descendant of a king, was despised by human beings to this extent. If there was a hole in the ground, he simply could not wait to bury himself in it and never come out. Why don't you stand up? Weren't you very eloquent before? Xia Ping shouted, you said that you want to find a human warrior to give you some pointers, and now I am here pointing out some of your shortcomings. Or you said that if you lose, you should call me father, now I want to hear it. He looked at Xu Wulong. Xia Ping. Xu Wulong shouted and he could no longer stand it. His lungs were about to explode because of this bastard's words, and he could no longer suppress the tumbling blood in his body. With a puff, he spat out a mouthful of blood and the ground was dyed red. Chapter 539. Go on, why aren't you shouting anymore? Your dad is waiting for you. Xia Ping said loudly, don't think that you can escape by pretending to be unconscious. I won't fall for it. He clenched his fists and wanted to wake the unconscious Xu Wulong up. Too much. A monster stood out and glared at Xia Ping. Brother Xu is already half paralyzed by you and is unconscious. You shameless human actually want to wake him up again. Do you still have any humanity? He was Xu Wulong's good brother, Wolf Seven Blades. Previously, on the forum, the two of them had cooperated very well. Now that he saw Xu Wulong being bullied like this, of course he had to stand out. That's right, brother Xu has already lost. What else do you want to do? Are you humans so despicable and shameless that you like to bully the injured? He's already unconscious and you still want to wake brother Xu up. Where are your human morals? Where did your conscience go? Was it eaten by a dog? If you want to bully brother Xu, you have to go through us first. Many monsters stared at Xia Ping angrily. They were so angry that they were about to explode. This was going too far. Facing an injured person, he was actually so ruthless. He wanted to wake him up even though he was unconscious. He really didn't put the monsters in his eyes. They all had a common enemy. Boom! Xia Ping took a step forward and grabbed with his hand. A tyrannical qigong burst out and a large void hand descended from the sky. Its speed was extremely fast, almost breaking through the sound barrier. What? Wolf Seven Blades, who was 100 meters away, had a huge change in expression. He immediately felt a terrifying airflow pressing down on him. Every inch of his skin felt a terrifying pressure. He tried to dodge but discovered that his body had already been locked down by the mental force. Bastard! Wolf Seven Blades shouted. His entire body immediately swelled up. His whole body trembled and every inch of his muscles was filled with explosive power. Black hair surged out. He struck out with his claw and instantly, countless sharp blades appeared, trying to block the large hand. Bang bang bang. But it was useless. The large hand crushed down and those wind blades were like tofu, easily crushing them into pieces. In an instant, it broke through Wolf Seven Blades' qigong defense. With a bang, in the next second, Wolf Seven Blades' body was slammed into the ground by this big hand. In an instant, a human-shaped crater was formed. The ground trembled and cracks appeared. It couldn't help but spit out large mouthfuls of blood. Its body was heavily injured. Human nature? You're a demon, what right do you have to talk to me about such things? Xia Ping looked at Wolf Seven Blade with disdain. Seeing how loud you were, I thought your strength wasn't bad. I didn't expect you to be trash that could be killed with one palm. With this kind of strength, you want to stand out? Aren't you a bit too full of yourself? Now, I'll give you some pointers and let you know what it means to keep a low profile. You don't have to be too grateful to me. Self-righteous. Wolf Seven Blades was driven mad. His face was completely red from anger. This shameless human sneak attacked him and beat him half to death. Now he was actually mocking and ridiculing him. He had never seen such a despicable human in his life. Moreover, he even humiliated him in front of so many demon race geniuses. Right now he even had the heart to kill Xiaoping. He even said that he was giving him pointers and letting him know what it meant to be low profile and not to be too grateful to him. Grateful my ass. He had already beaten him up and heavily injured him with one palm. Who would be grateful for something like that? Wolf Seven Blades couldn't believe it. Since when did the human skin become thicker than a chopping board? Did he even have any face to say such words? Xiaoping. The group of demons were furious and angrily glared at Xiaoping. They simply wanted to eat Xiaoping alive. This scoundrel human actually dared to act so brazenly, heavily injuring Wolf Seven Blade with a slap in front of them. Too impudent. This guy was simply unbridled. Not convinced? Xiaoping cast a sidelong glance and said indifferently, "If you have the guts, then come up. I can fight 10 of you." He was extremely disdainful in his heart. Previously, when they were dealing with the Yanhuang University students, they were even more ruthless than him. One by one, the Yanhuang University students were paralyzed and sent to the hospital. But at that time they didn't say that it was too much. They even said that it was just a spar and that they were giving pointers. But now, when it was their turn, they were defeated by him and said that this kind of behavior was too much. This kind of double standard was really well played. However, he was also too lazy to argue with these demons. If they were not convinced, then they could just come up and fight. If these demons still dared to continue to clamor, then he would just slap them to death with one palm. You can fight 10? What shameless boasting. Come and fight with me. I want to see how you can fight 10. Immediately an ox demon jumped out. It widened its eyes and breathed out hot air from its nose as it stared fixedly at Xiaoping. The demonic aura on its body was boundless and extremely terrifying. It emitted the aura of a martial master at the 7th layer. As it walked on the ground, just this aura alone was enough to crack the ground. This human doesn't look big, but his tone is quite big. If he wants to fight 10, then we will fulfill his wish. Let me join in as well. Immediately many demons jumped out. Among them were snake demons, tiger demons, horse demons, wolf demons, and so on. They were at least martial masters at the 5th layer, and the strongest one was martial masters at the 7th layer. Each of them was extremely powerful. Even if 2 or 3 human martial artists of the same level joined forces, they would not be a match for them. It's over. This kid has angered everyone. Many elite students were dumbfounded. They did not expect these demons to join forces to fight Xiaoping. Bullying with numbers, that's a little too much. Immediately, a Grandmaster teacher frowned and wanted to stop this battle. However, before he could do anything, a Grandmaster monster next to him stopped him and smiled. Why are you so nervous? It's just a sparring match. No one will die. Also, this is what you humans asked for. We didn't force you. It's the world of the young now. It's better for old bones like us not to disturb the young. What do you think? It looked at the teachers of Yanhuang University with a smile that hit a dagger. It seemed to be saying that if these teachers dared to make a move, they would not be polite and would stop these human grandmasters. This was because Xiaoping's words were clearly an insult to the demon race. This had completely angered them. They wanted to use this opportunity to teach this kid a lesson. Damn it. The few human grandmasters clenched their fists. They felt the threat of these grandmaster monsters. If they dared to make a move, these grandmaster monsters would probably not show any mercy. If a battle between grandmasters broke out in this place, the consequences would be no small matter. At the very least, the elite students who stayed there would be affected, and many people would definitely be injured or killed. Most importantly, these grandmaster monsters knew their limits. They knew that they could not kill anyone here. They had a good grasp of propriety, so there was no reason for them to make a move. They had no choice but to stand where they were and watch the situation unfold. Chapter 540. Boom! In an instant, the bull demon rushed up at once, and suddenly the sky shook and the earth shook. Its feet trampled on the ground as if there was a magnitude 7 or 8 earthquake in the entire training ground. The demon power in its body surged out wildly, covering its whole body and condensing into a substance. It seemed to form an air shield like a golden bell. When it ran over, it produced a strong attack power. If it was hit by such a force, even a small mountain would collapse. Human die. A snake demon swooped over. Its body wriggled in the air like a green phantom. It tore through the air and attacked at lightning speed. This is the snake demon known as green bamboo. It is green, extremely fast, and can break the sound barrier in an instant. Often the enemy does not know what is going on, and they are pierced in the heart by this snake demon. Even it carries a terrible poison. If the enemy is slightly cut, the poison will invade and they will die in less than 3 steps. Human, eat my claws. A tiger demon roared, and it was earth-shattering. Its tiger roar condensed into a substantial sound wave, spreading in all directions, shaking the eardrums of the surrounding people, and even dozens of cracks appeared on the ground. This is an iron tiger demon, born to control iron elements. A pair of tiger claws is invincible, and even titanium alloy metal will be easily cut into pieces by it. Not to mention, it has natural divine power, almost comparable to the elephant clan. Even among the many demon clan geniuses, its strength can be ranked in the top 10. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In just a few breaths, 10 demon geniuses rushed over, using their bloodline talent, controlling the demon power and attacking Xia Ping. Dozens of terrifying forces condensed into a substance. If a human warrior touched it, he would be smashed into pieces by this force in less than a second, leaving nothing behind. Dark North Body Protection Technique. Xia Ping's eyes were cold. He stood on the ground, his hands turned into a circle and ran the qigong in his body. Countless qi of true essence gushed out from his 108,000 pores. Suddenly, a strong air shield enveloped his body, with his body as the center, forming an air shield with a diameter of 1 meter, tightly encircling and isolating the outside world. Behind his body, the air shook and twisted as if there was a vision. A kunpeng flew up from the sea, and at the same time, there was the sound of crashing seawater. Bang 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 bang. In the blink of an eye, the attacks of the 10 monsters arrived. Some were extremely ferocious, some were soft and cold, some were indestructible, and some contained poison. 10 different kinds of demonic powers attacked at the same time, like countless streams of air tearing, forming a terrifying vortex, wanting to crush Xia Ping's body into pieces. But it was useless. When the Dark North Body Protection Art formed Xia Ping's energy shield, all of a sudden, the energy shield in thousands of times, crazy absorption of this power. Recoil. Just when these qis reached the limit, Xia Ping stepped out and ran the Dark North Body Protection technique in his body, and all the absorbed strength was returned at once. What? Immediately the 10 monsters were shocked. They couldn't believe their eyes. That attack was enough to defeat any enemy. No matter how strong this human was, he was no match for them. But what was going on now? Not only did the other party block all of their attacks, but he was even able to reflect the power of their attacks. This was too unfair. But now it's not their turn to think. Before, in order to kill this damn human, they used all their strength and made a killing blow, making sure that Xia Ping had no power to fight back, and they didn't leave much demonic power in their bodies. It can be said that now their old strength has been exhausted and new strength has not been generated. How can they resist the power of such a recoil? Dong. Immediately, the sound of morning bells and evening drums sounded in the air, and countless forces returned along the way, bombarding the bodies of these demon clan heavens chosen, and even the power of the recoil was stronger than their attack. Ah! These monsters immediately let out a shrill scream, and their bodies seemed to be slapped by a peerless master. The terrifying strength shook thousands of times, and their lungs were immediately hit hard, and they couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. With a few bangs, their bodies flew out and hit the ground of the training ground one by one, creating a huge deep pit, smoke and dust and gravel splashing. They even fell to the ground and kept coughing up blood, dyeing the ground red. Too strong. Not only were the demon race geniuses who didn't make a move, but even the elite students at the side were dumbfounded. Xia Ping didn't even make a move, but he was able to defeat the joint forces of 10 demon race geniuses. He was so valiant. He was so strong. They knew how terrifying these demon clan heavens chosen were. Although there were no powerhouses at the peak of the martial master realm, they were at least in the 5th or even the 7th heaven of the martial master realm. This kind of strength was enough for them to be ranked at the top among the elite students. But now these demon clan heavens chosen joined forces, and yet they were beaten so miserably by this kid. This was simply unbelievable. Damn it. A tiger demon roared, trying to get up. Although it suffered such a serious blow with the strong physique of the tiger clan, it was still able to get up from the ground. It was now extremely angry. It was defeated so easily by a human that it looked down on. Such a thing was simply humiliating and unacceptable. Damn it, my ass. Xia Ping slammed his palm down from the sky, and a huge true essence hand crushed down. It was like Buddha suppressing Sun Wukong with an invincible aura and power. With a bang, the palm landed on the tiger demon's body, causing it to fall to the ground and sink 5 to 6 meters. Several of the bones in its body were shattered. It immediately spat out a large amount of blood, and its eyeballs turned white. It actually fainted from the slap. This. The group of elite students was speechless. They didn't expect Xia Ping to be so ruthless and decisive. Before the tiger demon could say anything, he knocked it out with a slap. He didn't give the demon any face. Who else? Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back and looked at the many demon clan heavens chosen. Who else is unconvinced? Jump out and let me see. If I can't cripple you in 3 moves, I'll consider it my loss. The clothes on his body fluttered without any wind. With his body as the center, a terrifying aura erupted. It immediately enveloped the experts in the entire training ground, making them feel extremely suppressed. In a few moves, he defeated 10 demon clan heavens chosen. This kind of invincible aura made these demons feel extremely fearful and speechless. Chapter 541. He's too strong. He's invincible. He just advanced to the martial master realm not long ago, but he's already so strong. I can't imagine it. He's like a divine beast in human skin. The group of elite students were full of admiration. Even 10 monsters were no match for this kid. If such a person wasn't invincible, he wouldn't be qualified to do so. Previously, the group of monsters had been so arrogant. They bullied Jianghu University and acted like they were the kings of the world. They even wanted to give the elite students some pointers on martial arts techniques. But now, no one dared to make a sound after seeing so many heaven's favorites of the demon race beaten to the ground. That was how martial artists were. No matter how powerful they were, it was useless. Whether they were strong or not, they would know after a fight. In the world of martial arts, the winner was king and the loser was the bandit. Seeing this situation, a human grandmaster immediately laughed. He looked at the grandmaster demons beside him and said, "Thank you for letting us win. Our people were too heavy-handed and we couldn't hold back in time. With just a few moves, we severely injured your descendants. You don't mind, right? After all, it's just a spar." He looked at the group of grandmaster monsters proudly. Damn it, this bitch. The group of grandmaster monsters were so angry that their faces turned green. How could they not hear that the human grandmaster was mocking them? Previously, they had deliberately stopped the human grandmaster from interfering with the battle. In fact, they wanted to see the damned human beaten up by their young disciples and regain the face of the monster race. But who would have thought that even though 10 monsters had attacked, such strength was enough to suppress all enemies? Yet, they were still defeated by this despicable human, and lost so miserably. Now, not to mention regaining the face of the monster race, they would probably lose even more face. At the thought of this news spreading and letting many humans and demons know that they were bullying the weak, losing so miserably even though 10 of them were fighting against one person, they were so angry that their faces turned green. They could not imagine how they would be punished by the Demon King when they returned. By the way, you have many young disciples. Do you want the students of Jianghu University to continue giving you pointers? After all, Jianghu University is a martial arts holy land with many experts. The human grandmaster said proudly, "It's rare for you to have this opportunity after coming from afar. If you miss this opportunity, you won't get it again. Such an opportunity is very rare. Of course, you might suffer some physical pain, but you demons are all thick-skinned. A little injury is nothing. You should be used to it." Pointers my ass. The faces of the grandmaster demons flushed red. They wanted nothing more than to punch the human grandmaster. How was he giving pointers? He was clearly abusing and beating up the geniuses of the demon race. This kind of guidance, other than leaving pain all over the body and a psychological shadow, had no benefits at all. But this human evolved Jing master's mouth was too despicable. He clearly knew this and yet he was still spouting nonsense. It was clear that he wanted to see the demon race's geniuses make a fool of themselves, and humiliate the demon race. They immediately saw through the human grandmaster's shameless and sinister intentions. Suddenly, Xia Ping wanted to say something, but at that moment, the golden crow of hell cells in his body began to boil, emitting an aura of death. It was as if he was in mortal danger. He had never felt such a feeling before. It was as if he would be killed in the next second. This feeling came from a warrior's sixth sense, a keen sense of danger from the golden crow of hell bloodline. All such extraordinary creatures were extremely sensitive to danger. Because of this ability, extraordinary creatures could often avoid many unknown fatal dangers and live to adulthood. A grandmaster. A grandmaster was planning to assassinate him. Xia Ping woke up with a start. This was an unprecedented crisis. He had never thought that there would be someone who would dare to assassinate him in front of so many teachers at Jianghu University. Moreover, the other party was a grandmaster. Although he did not know why the other party was so bold, he did not have the time to think about it now. Spatial ring. With a whoosh, Xia Ping immediately exerted his mental strength and infused it into the spatial ring on his hand. In the next second, his figure disappeared on the spot and escaped into the inner space of the spatial ring. TSK human, how dare you insult the demon clan? Go to hell. A gloomy voice rang out. Swoosh. At the same time, a black light came from afar, almost breaking through the sound barrier by 10 times. This speed was so terrifying that it produced a sharp sound in the entire training ground. This sound was more than 10 times stronger than the tiger demons. It shook the surrounding elite students and sent them flying for dozens of meters, smashing into the wall of the training ground. Even their lungs were injured on the spot when the sound bombarded their bodies. With a loud bang, the terrifying black energy fiercely attacked the ground where Xia Pingyuan was standing, creating a huge pit with a diameter of 10 meters and a depth of tens of meters. Immediately, the entire training ground was filled with dust, covering the sky and the sun. Damn it, what's going on? How did I fail? The mysterious voice was extremely stunned. It seemed that it could not believe that it would fail. It was an assassination expert at the peak of the supreme power level. Even many supreme power masters had been killed by it. But now it could not kill a little human martial master. It did not even know where Xia Ping was. It seemed that he was hiding in a dimensional space. It had never seen or heard of such a thing. Bastard, who dares to commit murder in Yanhuang University? Feeling this scene, all the human supreme power masters were stunned and angry to the extreme. Someone dared to attack their own students under their noses. They must have eaten the guts of a leopard. They did not take Yanhuang University seriously at all. Moreover, the person who was attacked was an elite student of Yanhuang University, a genius among geniuses. If such a genius was secretly injured by the enemy, it would be an unbearable burden for Yanhuang University. One by one, the Supreme Power Masters immediately took action and instantly locked on to the enemy who attacked. But it was useless. This enemy was mysterious and unfathomable. It seemed to be a shadow. In an instant, it escaped the range of these Supreme Power Masters and came and went like a ghost. Human, you are lucky this time. I will come to kill him again next time. Let's see how long you can protect him. The mysterious shadow left these words and calmly escaped. Damn it. All the human Supreme Power Masters were furious, but the ability of this mysterious shadow was too terrifying. Even if their mental strength was strong, they could not catch up with it at all. They could not even find its whereabouts. How dare you come to Yanhuang University and behave atrociously? Stay. Chapter 542. What? Feeling the strong pressure and the omnipresent cold current between heaven and earth, the mysterious shadow's face suddenly changed. It was as if this power could change the weather. Because it found that its body, which was originally moving freely, was actually frozen at this moment. The cold air rushed over and suddenly froze its body. Damn it! The mysterious shadow shouted, and a violent momentum burst out of its body. It seemed that the whole training ground was shaking. It tried to use the power in its body to expel the cold current. Dong! But it was useless. A slender hand, which was surrounded by white light, slapped down. It was like an ice goddess carrying a terrible cold current. A cloud of white fog immediately shrouded the whole training ground, making it impossible for people to see anything in the training ground. It was white everywhere, as if an ice storm had arrived. Suddenly, the mysterious shadow let out a scream, and its whole body was immediately frozen into ice. The area within a radius of hundreds of meters turned into a world of ice and snow. The surrounding students couldn't help but shiver and step back. It seemed that if they didn't stay away, they would be invaded by the cold air. Their lungs would be frozen in an instant, and their vitality would be taken away. Shadow Devil, this is known as the strongest assassination race among the demon race. Shadow Devil. Someone immediately shouted, staring at the creature in the ice, inexplicably horrified. It was a pitch-black creature with a long horn on its head. It looked like a demon, and its body exuded a strange and mysterious aura. There seemed to be many mysterious runes engraved on the surface of its skin. With a swoosh, Xia Ping also sensed the situation outside. He came out of the space ring and silently appeared in the same place. He also saw the enemy who attacked him. It was a Grandmaster monster, Shadow Devil. No way, it's actually a Shadow Devil? It is said that this kind of monster is extremely special even among the demon race. It can transform into a shadow and make its body reach a state of nothingness. It can shuttle through any place silently and blend into the depths of the shadow of every creature. Yes, it is precisely because of this ability that they have killed countless experts. Especially after advancing to the Grandmaster realm, their assassination ability is simply unparalleled in the world. If they are lucky, they can even kill a king. Fortunately, there are very few shadow demons. Otherwise, the entire world would be shrouded in its shadow of death. However, with the Shadow Devil's innate ability, it's extremely difficult to capture it. If it wants to escape, even a king tier might not be able to catch up to it. However, it was caught in an instant. Just who is it? Everyone was shocked. They were even more shocked when they found out that the Grandmaster who tried to assassinate Xia Ping was a shadow demon. The shadow demon was known as the strongest assassin race. If it wanted to escape, almost no one could stop it. Previously, several human Grandmasters had tried to stop it, but to no avail. Entering Yanhuang University was like entering an uninhabited land. One could imagine how arrogant the shadow demon was. But now, he was frozen by this mysterious woman in an instant and couldn't even escape. One could imagine how terrifying this woman was. When the white mist dissipated, the woman's appearance was revealed. She wore a long white dress and her skin was as translucent as snow. She had an exquisite and beautiful face and her figure was exquisite. She was tall and alluring and she gave off a cold aura. At the same time, she was also wearing black-rimmed glasses, exuding a trace of intellectual aura. Her whole body had a mature charm just like the big sister next door. Qiushu. Xia Ping's pupils shrank. He immediately recognized this mysterious woman. She was Qiushu, the teacher in charge of his senior year. He didn't expect to see her at Yanhuang University. She even caught the shadow demon and showed her terrifying strength. She had at least reached the peak of the Grandmaster realm. Qiushu. Suddenly, an elite student immediately shouted, "This is Qiushu, a core student of our Yanhuang University. She has reached the peak of the Grandmaster realm and is already half a step into the King realm." No way, this is the famous monstrous genius Qiushu? It's said that she is known as the strongest genius of our Yanhuang University in hundreds of years. She became an elite student half a year after entering the university. 3 years later, she was promoted to the Grandmaster realm and even became a core student. Her cultivation speed is frightening. I've heard of her name. People call her the Snow Goddess. She has mastered the ultimate power of ice and has a formidable record. Many Grandmaster monsters have died in her hands. It's said that she has entered the Demon Clan's must-kill list. Core student? Is this the core student of Yanhuang University? It's really terrifying. Many elite students looked at this woman in admiration. Even though they were already elite students of Yanhuang University, they were still far from reaching the Grandmaster realm and becoming a core student. Because of the rules of Yanhuang University, if one could not be promoted to the Grandmaster realm before the age of 30, then he would not be able to become a core student in this life and would immediately graduate from Yanhuang University. The problem was that it was extremely difficult even for many geniuses to be promoted to the Grandmaster realm before the age of 30. This was simply 1 in a million. I'm really sorry. At this time, a Grandmaster monster came up and said apologetically, "This shadow demon is not from our side. I don't know where it came from. But don't worry, we'll definitely investigate this matter thoroughly and give Yanhuang University an explanation. We'll see which fellow has the guts to cause trouble in the human race's territory." It gritted its teeth and seemed to be very angry. "Then what do you want?" Qiushu raised her eyebrows. The Grandmaster monster said righteously, "I hope that Miss Qiushu will hand over this shadow demon to us. We, the demon race, have many methods to extort confessions. No matter how stubborn this shadow demon is, we will definitely make it speak. We will make it tell us the identity of the person behind it and the purpose of its assassination of the human race geniuses. I wanted to get this shadow demon back." "There's no need." As soon as he finished speaking, Qiushu's beautiful eyes revealed a trace of coldness. She slapped down with her hand. With a bang, the ice that had originally wrapped around the shadow demon was immediately smashed into pieces by this tyrannical force. With a bang, the shadow demon was immediately torn into pieces. It could not be any more dead than it already was. Seeing Qiushu's action, the few Grandmaster monsters all clenched their fists. Their eyes were wide open and there was a terrible anger in their hearts. They wanted to tear Qiushu into pieces. One had to know that the Shadow Demon Clan was also an illustrious fighting clan among the demon race. They were born to be masters of assassination. The death of even one was unbearable, especially when this shadow demon was a Grandmaster. Chapter 543. Awesome. Xiaoping was very impressed. This Master Qiushi was really ruthless. She didn't have the slightest bit of soft-heartedness and she was decisive. She killed the demon without any hesitation. This group of demons probably didn't expect Qiushi to be so ruthless and not give them any face. She killed a Grandmaster demon just like that, without any mercy and in front of them. Originally, they thought that at the very least, this woman would leave the Grandmaster Shadow Demon alive. This way they might be able to get some information from the Shadow Demon. However, she didn't need it at all. She killed it with one slap. What's wrong? I killed this assassin who wanted to assassinate my human race's genius. Do you have any objections? Or could it be that this shadow fiend was sent by you? Qiushi narrowed her eyes and looked at these Grandmaster demons. She revealed a faint killing intent. No, no, no. Of course not. We have nothing to do with this shadow demon. Immediately, the few Grandmaster demons waved their hands and tried to explain. This was the human race's territory. If they said they had anything to do with this matter, they might be torn apart by the angry human kings. Perhaps the human kings wouldn't even have to do anything. Just this woman in front of them could kill them dozens of times. It's good that you have nothing to do with it, Qiushi said coldly, but it is an assassin of your demon race. You can't escape from this matter. We must investigate thoroughly. If we find out that you ordered the shadow demon to assassinate my human race's genius, I will never let you go. She directly threatened them. Damn it. The few Grandmaster demons' faces turned red. They couldn't help but clench their fists. The veins on their foreheads popped. When had they ever been threatened by a human like this? It was clearly a slap in the face and a complete humiliation. However, they didn't dare to say anything. Not to mention that they were in the wrong, the other party's strength far surpassed theirs. If they dared to fight back, they would be asking for humiliation. They didn't say much either. They only promised to investigate this matter thoroughly and that it had nothing to do with them. After saying that, the few Grandmaster demons left with the group of demon race geniuses. They didn't dare to stay here any longer. Also, with such a thing happening, the duel couldn't continue. As expected of a core student. So domineering. Do you see those Grandmaster demons? They don't even dare to make a sound. How dare they? Even the shadow demon at the Grandmaster peak was killed by a palm. Even if they join hands, they will be killed in a few moves. How dare they speak? Aren't they afraid of death? This is the scolding of a core student? His strength is terrifying beyond belief. It's said that there aren't many core students even in Yanhuang University. Basically, every core student will become a king in the future. Especially Qiushi, she has even advanced to the peak of the Grandmaster realm. Some people say that she can advance to the king realm at any time. It can't be. Does that mean that senior sister Qiu is already the future king? When they heard this news, all the elite students felt even more admiration. Even though they could be considered to be geniuses as well, they couldn't say that they would definitely be able to advance into the king realm, and it could only be said that their chances were greater than others. In history, the number of elite students that were unable to advance to the king realm was simply innumerable. Numerous elite students were stuck at the peak of the Grandmaster realm and were unable to advance throughout their entire lifetimes. That's amazing. Senior sister Qiu is indeed the idol of us girls. She's beautiful and powerful. She's simply perfect. I don't know what kind of man will conquer a beauty like senior sister Qiu. The number of men who want to pursue senior sister Qiu can fill the entire Yanhuang University. Even many geniuses of the demon clan are pursuers. Those who can pursue senior sister Qiu are at least kings. How can ordinary men be qualified? A group of girls were clamoring. Even for girls, Qiushi was an idol that they greatly admired. Some girls were directly turned gay by Qiushi. Xiaoping, you can actually escape the assassination of the Grandmaster Yin Yao. That's really amazing. Can you tell me how you did it? Qiushi walked over and looked at Xiaoping. She was very curious about this. She had just passed by unintentionally, but she saw the scene of Yin Yao trying to assassinate Xiaoping. However, it was already too late when she wanted to make a move. Once Yin Yao attacked, he would be killed with a single blow. Even an expert at the peak of the Grandmaster realm would not be able to stop him. But who would have thought that the Grandmaster Yin Yao's fatal blow could not kill Xiaoping, and even Xiaoping was not injured at all, which was very strange. Xiaoping was only in the Martial Master realm, which was far from the Grandmaster realm. It was simply impossible for him to escape the attack of such a top killer. The problem was that such a thing was happening right in front of her eyes, and she couldn't understand it no matter how she thought about it. It's a secret, Xiaoping said with a smile, but if teacher Qiu can be my wife, there's no problem telling you. What? As soon as this sentence came out, it immediately caused an uproar among the surrounding students. This kid was too thick-skinned. It was just some secrets, but he still wanted senior sister Chiao to be his wife. Was he shameless? Chioshu gritted her teeth and her face turned red. She also suddenly remembered that this kid was not a good person. He had been coveting her for a long time in high school, and even wrote a novel on the internet with her as the heroine. If this was the case, it would not be a big deal, but this guy was a playboy who had stepped on many boats. It was rumored that he might have gotten many girls pregnant, and he intended to deny it. It could be imagined what a scumbag this kid was. It was not an exaggeration to say that he was Chin Shimi. Teacher Chiao. Xiaoping said to Chioshu, "Before, we were still in a teacher-student relationship, so you didn't agree, but now that I have graduated, it is no longer a teacher-student relationship, so there should be no problem. Why don't we find a time to cook the rice?" He put forward his own suggestion. Cook my ass. Chioshu wanted to block this bastard's mouth. What did he mean by find a time to cook the rice? Did he think this was a meal? They could just find a time and place to eat. But according to the character of this shameless student, maybe he really wanted to eat her. No way, this Xiaoping and senior Chiao are still in a teacher-student relationship? Isn't senior sister Chiao a course student? I don't know, but it seems that these two people have known each other for a long time, and their relationship is not shallow. Not only is their relationship not shallow, they are clearly flirting. I guess there is an adulterous affair in this. Indeed, if this Xiaoping dared to talk to senior sister Chiao like this, maybe these two people have already had an affair. Impossible, this Xiaoping is also a toad, how can he be qualified to eat swan meat? That's right, Xiaoping is a bad bastard, how can he be qualified to be worthy of senior sister Chiao? It's ridiculous. Suddenly seeing the appearance of Xiaoping and Chioshu, a group of elite students were in an uproar, feeling that there was definitely something fishy between the two. Hehe, I didn't expect Chioshu to also like to eat young grass. Chapter 544. What? Hearing this familiar voice, Chioshu's body stiffened. She seemed to know the identity of the person who spoke. Whoosh. Immediately, a woman descended to the ground. She wore a pair of hot pants and a pair of red high heels, revealing two white and tender long legs, a slender waist and an extremely hot body. Her white shirt completely outlined her curves. Immediately, all the men present felt the woman's infinite charm. They only had one thought in their mind. Charming. She was too charming. She was simply the world's top stunner. Every move, every frown, and every smile seemed to be able to arouse the most primitive impulse of a male animal. The moment the woman appeared, all the men present seemed to be instantly captured. They crawled at the feet of the woman, unable to move their eyes away. Bah, vixen. Immediately, some of the women felt an endless sense of threat. They immediately spat and looked at the woman with incomparable hostility. All of them pinched their boyfriends next to them, wishing that they could take the men next to them away. However, these men seemed to have lost their souls. No matter what they did, they couldn't move their feet. It was as if their feet were welded to the ground. This woman? Xiaoping's pupils shrank. The golden crow of hell's cells in his body immediately sent him a sense of crisis. He felt that this woman seemed to be extremely dangerous. Her body emitted an extremely strong scent of female hormones. This scent could almost capture the hearts of all the men in the world. If he didn't have the golden crow of hell's bloodline, he probably wouldn't be able to resist this woman's charm. Vaguely, he seemed to see a shadow appear behind this woman. It was a nine-tailed fox wantonly waving its 9 tails. Sume, what are you doing here? Chioshu frowned. It seemed that she really didn't want to see this woman appear. Sume? Xiaoping's heart moved. This name seemed to be very similar to Su Ji's name. Her temperament was also very similar. Could it be that the two of them had an unusual relationship? The woman, Sume, giggled. I came here to see how you're going to eat young grass. I didn't expect that after being a teacher for a year, you actually hooked up with a fresh meat. Not bad. Why didn't I see that you were so thirsty before? Could it be that you like those younger than you? Hearing this, Chioshu was instantly angered. Who's thirsty? Don't spout nonsense here. She glared at the woman in front of her. Little handsome boy, what do you think? Did this old woman secretly attack you? Sume ignored Chioshu and turned to look at Xiaoping with a smile. Xiaoping rolled his eyes. I'm not very clear about this. She likes to call me to talk after class. I don't know how many times we've talked, but she's still alone with me, a man and a woman. He blinked his eyes, trying to look innocent. So that's how it is. I didn't think that there would be such a move. Openly using your authority as a teacher to flirt with a handsome student in broad daylight. You can even do something like this. I'm impressed. Su Mei was suddenly enlightened. She seemed to have seen through Qiushu's sinister intentions. Bullshit. Qiushu was a little crazy. She did call Xia Ping for a talk after class, but that was because this kid's grades were terrible and he wasn't serious in class. She called him over to criticize him. This was the duty of a teacher. But in this kid's mouth, everything was reversed. Instead, he thought that she was plotting something. She coveted men and used her authority as a teacher to deliberately let him stay behind after class. She was trying to be an old cow eating young grass. She was even more wrong than Do-E. Beast, I didn't think that Xia Ping and Senior Qiushu really have an affair. A man and a woman alone in a room. How can there not be something fishy? No wonder I feel that there's something wrong with these two. Damn it, why haven't I met such a teacher? I'm not bragging, but if the teacher publicly attacks me, I promise I won't resist, I won't struggle, and I'll actively protect this secret. Shameless Xia Ping. He's clearly taking advantage of me. I've never seen such a shameless man before. Countless students were in an uproar. They all glared at Xia Ping and wanted to eat this lucky kid alive. Hearing the words around her, Qiushu's face turned green. She clenched her teeth. Su Mei, don't be too proud. This kid is not a good thing. Your sister Su Ji also has an affair with him. She paid attention to Xia Ping's glorious history when he came to Yanhuang University. She also knew about his entanglement with Su Ji. What? Su Mei's face changed. Because in her eyes, her sister Su Ji was the world's best treasure. She couldn't tolerate being bullied by any man. Her beautiful eyes looked at Xia Ping with a little danger. What? You're Su Ji's sister? No wonder you look so similar. So you're my sister-in-law. Xia Ping patted his head. No wonder the two looked so similar. They were both from the Su family and had the bloodline of the demon fox. It could be said that every woman from the Su family had the ability to charm the world. However, not every woman was so powerful. It also depended on their own talent. Obviously, this Su Mei was one of the best even among the many disciples of the Su family. Who's your sister-in-law? Don't talk nonsense. Su Mei angrily glared at Xia Ping. She had the urge to beat this shameless man up. They hadn't even gotten married yet and he already wanted to be a family. His skin was too thick. Tell me, how did you get to know my sister? Xia Ping carelessly said, about this, the process of us getting to know each other was a little dramatic, a little romantic, and even a little action. In short, the situation was very complicated. No matter what, sister-in-law, you know that my relationship with your sister is not shallow. Maybe next year I'll bring the child to meet the parents. At that time, please take care of me. Take care of my ass. Su Mei didn't have the mood to talk to Xia Ping at all. Her face was extremely dark. He actually wants to bring the child to the Su family next year. What kind of relationship does this shameless brat have with my sister? Has it already been eaten clean by this pervert? Moreover, this brat's character doesn't seem to be a good thing. Moreover, his relationship with Qiushu is unclear. I reckon that he's also a playboy. If my sister were to be together with this kind of man, she would definitely be played around. In the future, who knows how many times she would have to have an abortion. Honestly, what kind of relationship do you have with my sister? How many women have you hooked up with behind my sister's back? Su Mei very dangerously looked at Xia Ping as if she wanted to castrate this guy. About this I'm not very clear. Xia Ping touched his chin. Fuck, so many that I can't even count. Su Mei was going crazy. She felt that the killing intent in her heart was getting heavier and heavier. She kind of wanted to kill this womanizer Xia Ping right now. He clearly has such a great beauty like my sister, but he still went out to flirt with other women. Su Mei, why are you angry? Seeing this scene, Qiushu felt very comfortable. She giggled, your sister's matter is not your matter. Isn't it normal for a man and a woman to love? Chapter 545. She's not your sister. Of course you don't care. Su Mei was so angry that she stared at Qiushu, who was gloating. She didn't expect that one day she would be so angry by Qiushu. It was normal to say that men and women were in love. Su Ji was not her sister. Of course, it was easy for her to say that. Yes, it's normal, sister-in-law. Xia Ping also shouted at the side, fanning the flames. Big your face. Shut up. I'm not your sister-in-law. Su Mei clenched her fist, and the terrifying power of the Supreme Power Realm erupted from her body. The ground was suddenly shaken and a huge deep pit appeared. The earth shook a bit and countless cracks appeared. If it weren't for the fact that it was inconvenient to make a move under the watchful eyes of the public, she kind of wanted to give this bastard a blow, drag him back to the room and torture him to know what was going on. Amazing. Seeing this scene, Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. It seemed that the strength of this enchantress was not small, and was definitely not inferior to Qiushu. It was not as simple as it looked on the surface. Sume, why are you angry? This will happen sooner or later. Qiushu chuckled. She felt that her mood was getting more and more comfortable. There were too few opportunities to make Sume the witch suffer. If she didn't seize it now, how could she have the opportunity in the future? And don't you like your sister very much and don't want to be separated from her? Why don't you marry him too? It's not bad for two women to serve one husband. Maybe this is also a rare story. She teased. This is good, this is good. Xiaoping touched his chin and his eyes suddenly lit up. If he could marry these two sisters and have a threesome, his life would not be in vain. Good my ass. Sume gritted her teeth. She wanted to hammer Xiaoping to death now. If it weren't for this bastard, she wouldn't have encountered such a dilemma. There's no time like today. I can also be a matchmaker for you. Anyway, your pigu is quite big. You should take good care of it. Next year you'll give birth to a white and fat boy. Qiushu was insatiable and giggled. Qiushu. Sume was driven mad. With a boom she slapped out with her palm. Terrifying astral energy surged out from her body. She was like a nine-tailed demon fox that contained terrifying power. Qiushu did not feel any fear and also punched out. Her small fist gave off a white light, making her look like a goddess and giving off boundless might. Dong. When the two forces collided, it was like a volcanic eruption. The horrifying chi strength spread in all directions. The chi strength condensed into a substance. This was a fight between two Grandmaster Peak experts. Vaguely, there seemed to be a strange phenomenon in midair. It was a battle between a peerless demon fox and the snow goddess. Immediately, the surrounding students were sent flying by the strong wind. Some of them were caught off guard and smashed into the wall, creating a human-shaped hole. Large amounts of rubble rolled down and smoke and dust rose everywhere. Bang bang bang. However, this was only the beginning. Qiushu and Sume collided with each other. It was as if two meteors were colliding as they fought in midair. Every time they collided, a terrifying force would erupt, and a huge crater would appear on the ground. This kind of power was no less than a missile explosion, and it was extremely terrifying. Run. We can't stay here. Otherwise we will definitely die. A Grandmaster teacher shouted and ordered the surrounding students to run away immediately. This was a fight between two experts who were half a step into the king realm. The power was horrifying. If a martial master stayed in this place, he would easily be hit by the aftermath of the battle. In serious cases, he might even be directly shocked to death and could not be saved even if he was sent to the hospital. After saying these words, the Grandmaster teachers were the first to run away. They did not even dare to go forward to stop them because the combat strength of the two was far beyond them. They were not in the same dimension at all. If they rashly intervened, they would definitely be beaten up and might even be seriously injured. Fuck, even the Grandmasters are running away. Is this still a teacher? They run faster than anyone else. It's too shameless. Don't talk nonsense. Let's run away too. Seeing the Grandmaster teachers running away quickly, the students present were scared to death and their faces turned green. Even the Grandmasters were scared to run away. If they stayed here, how could they survive? Now they were not in the mood to watch the show. They fled in all directions at an extremely fast speed. It was as if they wished their parents could give them more legs. What a terrifying woman. Xiaoping was very emotional. When a woman was angry, it was no small matter, especially a powerful woman. Once she was angry, it was no less than a nuclear explosion. The power was very terrifying. However, he did not pay attention to the two women. He took advantage of this opportunity to quickly run away. Using the Kunpeng steps, a pair of wings grew on his back. He controlled the airflow and quickly left the scene in a few breaths. This battle did not last for long. In just a dozen minutes, it immediately attracted the school's higher-ups, including the King Realm experts. They immediately stopped the battle between Qiushu and Sume. After all, if they continued to fight, it was unknown how many buildings in the school would be destroyed. The higher-ups put them in the confinement room for a month. At the same time, they had to compensate the school for the losses. Qiushu and Sume were in the wrong, so they did not resist and admitted that it was their fault. However, this matter caused a huge storm in Yanhuang University. Not only the ordinary students but even the elite students and even the core students knew about it. The core students, Qiushu and Su Mei, fought over a man because of jealousy. Someone immediately exposed it on the internet. Suddenly, many people were in an uproar because Qiushu and Su Mei were simply legendary students of Yanhuang University. They were known as the most outstanding geniuses in hundreds of years. They had been promoted to the Master Realm at a young age, and now they were half a step into the King Realm. Moreover, they were as beautiful as flowers and had infinite charm. It was unknown how many men had fallen in love with them. They were simply the lovers of the nation. The men who pursued them had a strong group. However, these two proud girls fought to death for a man. They even alarmed the higher-ups and destroyed an area of the school. This was simply earth-shattering news. Impossible. What sort of figures are Qiushu and Su Mei? They're halfway into the King Realm, and becoming King Realm kings is something that's certain. What sort of man can make them fight each other out of jealousy? It's simply a joke. A core student did not believe such a thing and thought it was a rumor. This is true. There are pictures and videos as evidence. There are also many witnesses. Someone swore that this was absolutely true, and he even provided videos and pictures as evidence. Chapter 546. No way, really? Qiushu and Su Mei are really fighting over a man? There is a video, how can it be fake? Damn it, who is this man? What qualifications does he have to be treated like this by the two goddesses? This guy is Xia Ping, a freshman who has just been promoted to an elite student. It is said that since he entered the school, he has caused a lot of trouble. He is a natural troublemaker. There is no justice. What kind of charm does this guy have to make the two goddesses treat him like this? Are they blind? Many students wailed when they saw this video. They couldn't accept this fact until now. A little freshman actually captured the two goddesses. It was incredible. Especially some elite students and even core students who had been in love with the two goddesses for a long time. After hearing the news, their faces were as black as coal. They thought that with their talent and family background, it was only a matter of time before they wanted to pursue the two goddesses, but now a bastard came out of nowhere and took the lead. How could they tolerate this kind of thing? Strange, that kid Xia Ping is just a freshman and it's his first time in the cloud world. Someone raised their own doubts. According to this kid's identity, he is not qualified to come into contact with core students. How did he know Qiushu and Su Mei? It doesn't make sense. It's normal for that kid to know Senior Qiushu. Someone revealed, it seems that in order to break through the bottleneck of martial arts, Senior Qiushu chose to stay dormant for a period of time and return to the life of an ordinary person. She returned to Yanhuang Star and went to a local high school to work as a teacher. And that kid Xia Ping was a student of that high school. Senior Qiushu was his class teacher at that time. It can be said that these two people have known each other for a long time and have been colluding with each other for a long time. Some people had more or less investigated Xia Ping's matter and also knew the relationship between Xia Ping and Qiushu. It is said that this Xia Ping is simply a pervert. Someone continued to reveal, when he was in Yanhuang Star, he was not only a student but also had a secret identity. He seems to be a writer of erotic novels. He also wrote a novel called Teacher by Roan. The heroine of this novel is based on Senior Qiushu. It is said that many of the plots in it were personally experienced by him, and now he has written them out in full detail. It can be said that this novel completely reflects the filth in the author's heart, as well as the darkness hidden in the depths of human nature. No one can write something like this unless they're super perverted. Everyone was in an uproar because this was the first time they had heard of this. Although they had some information about Xia Ping before, it was not as clear as it was now. Xia Ping's past was dug out by some people in full detail. Beast, how could you write such a thing? Shameless to the extreme. This kid is shameless and lustful. I didn't expect Senior Sister Chio to fall for such a man. Is she blind? I suggest that this novel be banned immediately. Otherwise, it will definitely corrupt the morals of humanity. Many people cursed loudly, hating Xia Ping very much. Someone went on to expose, if that's all it's fine, but this Xia Ping is definitely not a good guy. When he was on Yanhuang Star, he was a shameless scumbag who stepped on more than a dozen boats. I don't know how many women were pregnant by him. After coming to the Cloud Realm, this kid has become even worse. It is said that even the Su family, Su Mei and the female companion around her were once killed by him. Seeing this news, the people around were completely speechless. This kid was a rogue to a certain extent. He was simply hungry and could not be choosy. He actually killed a group of women. How ridiculous was this? Could it be that as long as it was a beautiful woman, he could do it with anyone? Soon, Feng Hatong and others also saw such news on the internet. All of them were very angry, feeling that this group of people on the internet was clearly slandering their big brother, making things up and maliciously spreading rumors. One by one they were filled with righteous indignation and went online to refute. Everyone don't believe the rumors. My big brother Xiaoping is a good person. He has always been impartial and law-abiding. Yes, although my big brother is a bit romantic, which man is not romantic? This is a representation of my big brother's ability. That's right. As the saying goes, it takes a lot to slap someone. If those women don't agree, my big brother can't force them. This is nothing more than taking what we need. Those women covet my big brother's charm, wealth, and status, so they voluntarily send themselves to his door. My big brother just goes with the flow and takes what he needs. What's wrong with this? If you have the ability, you can do the same. All of you are slandering and maliciously slandering my big brother's reputation. It's clearly jealousy. To put it bluntly, my big brother is giving face to these women. It's their honor. It's like the emperor choosing concubines. You see which concubine is chosen by the emperor and feel pain, but you don't know how happy you are. Of course, it's a bit too much to pull up your pants and leave. It's just a small mistake. It's harmless. It's a small flaw in my big brother's brilliant personality. That's right, that's right. Even the sun has black spots. No one is perfect. Feng Hatong and others went online one by one, waving the flag and shouting for Xiaoping. However, these words suddenly aroused the anger of countless people, as if stepping on the tail of these people. All of them were half dead with anger. They had never seen such a shameless person in their life. It was obvious that he had a foot in more than a dozen boats. The contemporary Qin Shimi actually distorted the facts here and said that it was taking what he needed. In order to absolve himself of his guilt, he even said that those women had voluntarily sent themselves to him and that they had evil intentions and were greedy for wealth. He even said that doing this was giving face to those women and was an honor. He used the ancient emperor as an example. If that was the case, didn't that mean that this brat had already regarded himself as an ancient emperor and the women around him were all his concubines? When he was lonely at night, he could choose whoever he wanted to sleep with him. They could be considered to have seen weirdos, but they had never seen someone like Xiaoping. Although these words were said by the people of the Pingtian sect, if the upper beam was not straight, the lower beam would be crooked. Without Xiaoping, who was a crooked person, how would these subordinates dare to say such words? Xiaoping, you beast, don't think that you can continue to be complacent. There will definitely be retribution in the future. It's not that there won't be retribution, but it's not time yet. Just you wait. Let's see how long you can be arrogant for. Is there no one who can punish this scum? Even the heavens are blind to let such a bastard run amok. Good people don't live long, but scourges live for 1,000 years. Chapter 547. In a certain dormitory villa in Yanhuang University, a group of women gathered together. Impressively, the leader was Su Ji. This group of women also saw the news on the internet, and all of them were very angry. Damn it, where did this rumor come from? It actually said that we were wiped out by Xiaoping, and our innocence was ruined. This is not true. A woman felt very angry because this was simply a malicious rumor. I don't know where this rumor came from. It's too much. Sister, we must stop this rumor. We must not let this rumor spread. Many women clenched their fists. They were all virgin girls. If they let this rumor continue to spread, which man would dare to pursue them? This is not necessarily a bad thing. Su Ji's beautiful eyes revealed a trace of light. Because of these rumors, Xiaoping is now the public enemy. He is simply a street rat that everyone wants to beat up. This time we have hope for revenge. Moreover, this guy foolishly offended my sister Su Mei. He must be tired of his long life. She was proud of herself. No one knew better than her how powerful her sister was. She could be called the strongest genius in the Su family in 1,000 years, half a step into the king realm. If he was targeted by such a terrifying person, no matter how monstrous Xiaoping was, he would not be her opponent. That's right. In this way, Xiaoping is dead for sure. I originally thought that after he was promoted to an elite student, we would have no hope for revenge. I didn't expect him to court death like this. I just don't know how long he can last under the hands of Sister Su Mei. A group of women's eyes lit up. Obviously, they admired a legendary woman like Su Mei very much. Xiaoping, just you wait. Su Ji clenched her fist, looking forward to seeing Xiaoping begging for mercy. As long as she thought of this, her heart felt very comfortable. Even eating ice cream in the summer was not as comfortable as this. At this time, a group of elite students gathered together. All of their faces were very gloomy. Damn it, that freshman Xiaoping is a bit arrogant. Isn't it? As soon as he entered the school, he began to stir up trouble everywhere. Now he even extended his evil palm to the core students. This is bad. The school's order is gone. How could senior sister Chiu and senior sister Su fall for such a man? It doesn't make sense. That despicable Xiaoping must have used some dirty method to threaten them. Otherwise, how could this happen? These elite students were all gnashing their teeth in hatred towards Xiaoping. This was because they had been in love with Qiushu and Su Mei for a long time, and were even continuously pursuing them. But who would have thought that someone would suddenly appear out of nowhere, and this new student, Xiaoping, would take the lead? When they thought about how the pure and clean senior sister Chiu and the charming and moving senior sister Su had already been defiled by that beast Xiaoping, they immediately felt their hearts burn with jealousy. They even wanted to kill Xiaoping. The goddess that they had painstakingly pursued had long since been fucked by that Xiaoping. No one could accept such a reality, and all of them were a little mad, wishing that they could immediately get rid of Xiaoping. No, I can't let this continue. Yes, regardless of whether senior sister Chiu and senior sister Su really like that beast, that brat must be eliminated. Let him stay at Yanhuang University. Our school is really dark. How can he pick up girls? I heard that he even hooked up with senior sister Su's younger sister, Su Ji. I think he's going to take both sisters. I'll take his face. How could he do such a thing? I'm just dreaming. Eliminate him, immediately eliminate that brat. That bastard is simply a human cedar. Wherever he goes he sows. If we continue to let him stay at Yanhuang University, I don't know how many beautiful female students will be killed by him. A group of elite students were gnashing their teeth and clenching their fists. But if he stays in school we have no way to eliminate him. An elite student said helplessly. Someone sneered and said, so what if he stays in school? We can find an excuse to get him into the training tower to spar. From time to time we can beat him up and send him to the hospital. As time goes by, I don't believe that brat can still stay at Yanhuang University. He said a vicious plan. This is a good idea. From time to time, beat him up and force him to drop out of school. Use everyone and completely isolate him. I want to see what he can do. Beat him up a few more times and he will know what is good for him. Senior sister Chiu and senior sister Su can also be touched by this brat? Simply too bold. It said that even the core students want to kill this brat, just waiting for an opportunity. Many elite students gritted their teeth, their eyes revealed a fierce light, and they came up with many vicious plans. Didi at this time, Xiaoping, who had returned to the villa, also heard the prompt from the system. Congratulations to the host, you have obtained 3 million hatred points. I hope you will continue to work hard. 3 million hatred points? It seems that this time I have really angered a lot of people. Xiaoping touched his chin, feeling very happy. Now he had 48 million hatred points on him. This kind of hatred points was not far from 100 million hatred points. He was looking forward to what kind of reward he would get after reaching 100 million hatred points. It seemed that he needed to attract more hatred in the future. Another day passed. On the internet, countless students were lashing out at Xiaoping. Many people were scolding Xiaoping, and it seemed that they had made up all kinds of rumors describing Xiaoping as a scumbag who did all kinds of evil and liked to play with women. However, the assassination of Xiaoping by Grandmaster Ying Yao did not cause too much waves. It seemed that it was suppressed by someone who did not want to cause too much trouble. At this time, Dean Zhaoyang called, and the two of them had a video communication. Dean, did you come to me because of Ying Yao's assassination of me? Xiaoping asked. Smart, it is indeed this matter. Dean Zhaoyang nodded and said to Xiaoping, the result has come out. This matter has nothing to do with the Demon Clan Exchange Group, and the Grandmaster Ying Yao came in through other channels. Nothing to do with it? Xiaoping didn't believe this kind of argument. How could there be such a coincidence? As soon as this group of Demon Clan Heavenly Talents came, the Grandmaster Ying Yao followed. There was no doubt that the Grandmaster Ying Yao took advantage of the arrival of the Demon Clan Exchange Group to find a gap in the defense of Yanhuang University, so he had the opportunity to assassinate him. Yes, it doesn't matter. This is the excuse of the Demon Clan, and all the evidence has been destroyed by them. We can't do anything about it. Dean Zhaoyang said helplessly. Since the other party dared to carry out such an assassination, it proved that they had dealt with these things cleanly. Even if the matter was exposed, they would not be affected in any way. Chapter 548. Black Scorpion King Cave. Damn it. Even this couldn't kill that human. The Black Scorpion King's expression was very ugly. With a bang, it slammed its palm on the ground, creating a huge pit. The entire cave seemed to be cracked as if it had been smashed into two halves. It was hard to imagine how angry it was right now. Because just now, it had received the news that the Shadow Devil clan killer it had sent had failed and was even killed on the spot by a human master stage master. One slap and he couldn't even escape. Because the matter of sending the killer had been exposed, it had seriously affected the harmonious situation between humans and demons. Some big shots of the Thousand Monster Mountain came to warn the Black Scorpion King not to act rashly at this time. Otherwise, they wouldn't mind handing over the Black Scorpion King to appease the anger of the humans. Thinking of this, the Black Scorpion King was extremely sullen. When did the demon clan decline to this extent? To actually hand over a monster king to appease the anger of the humans, this was simply a great humiliation. Hundreds of years ago, when the humans were not in this world, the demon clan was the king of this world, the ruler. Who dared to say half a word of dissatisfaction to the demon clan, unless they were tired of living? But now the human clan was powerful and menacing, like the sun in the sky. This sky realm was no longer a world ruled by the demon clan. No matter how angry it was, it couldn't do anything. Looks like I can only spare that human for a period of time, wait for this matter to calm down, then take action. The Black Scorpion King clenched its fist, its heart boiling with killing intent. It hated this human bastard who killed its son and even caused it so much trouble. If that human was in its territory, it would definitely cut him into pieces without hesitation. But now, he was living in a human residence and even in a place like Jianghu University. Even if it was a monster king, it would not dare to enter such a dangerous place. At first, it thought that the Shadow Devil clan's assassination ability was very strong. Dealing with a small martial master realm was as easy as drinking water. It did not expect that it would fail in the end. Endure for now. There will be a time when that brat is alone, and when that time comes, it will be his death. The Black Scorpion King's eyes revealed a trace of coldness. For a king, in order to obtain a certain treasure or to kill a certain enemy, it also had enough patience. Just you wait, human. The Black Scorpion King clenched his teeth. Sooner or later, this king will slaughter the human race and slaughter dozens of human cities. I will sacrifice the human race to avenge my son. Its body exuded a thick, baleful aura. At this time, Jianghu University's elite district villa. Hearing Director Zhao Yang's words, Xiaoping's eyes revealed a trace of coldness. It was the Black Scorpion King's instigation? Although he had already expected it, he still underestimated the Black Scorpion King's determination to kill him. The other party was actually able to find an opportunity to sneak into the heavily guarded Jianghu University and even find an opportunity to kill him in one strike. It was truly terrifying. If it weren't for his Golden Crow Hell bloodline, which gave him the ability to warn in advance as well as his space ring, he would have already been killed by that Grandmaster Shadow Monster. Yes, although there is no conclusive evidence, there is no doubt that it was done by the Black Scorpion King. Dean Zhaoyang looked at Xiaoping. You should also understand your current situation. It is full of danger. Even in Jianghu University, there is a lot of protection, but this protection may not be foolproof. There will always be a slight chance of negligence, just like yesterday. So, if you want to survive the demon race's assassination, you must quickly increase your strength. He reminded Xiaoping of this matter. I know. Xiaoping clenched his fists, his chest filled with monstrous killing intent. It seemed that this Black Scorpion King would not rest until he was dead. He actually sent a Grandmaster Shadow Monster to assassinate him. Once he advanced to the King realm and had strength, that Black Scorpion King must be eliminated. In about a month, the Genius Contest will begin. I suggest you go to the Training Tower's gravity room to train. That place should be of great benefit to your training. Dean Zhaoyang said in a deep voice. Gravity room? My private spaceship also has a gravity room installed. There is no need to go to the training tower, right? Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. He also knew that the gravity room would be of great benefit to his training. After all, the more pressure one put on one's body, the faster one could stimulate one's potential. Running, lifting, and so on could only train a part of the body. But under several times the gravity, it could temper every inch of the body, every bone, and even every cell. Under extreme gravity, a warrior's speed of absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth was more than several times that of normal gravity. It could be said that training in the gravity room for 1 hour was equivalent to training in the normal gravity room for 10 days. the efficiency was countless times higher. Stupid. Dean Xiaoyang reprimanded, how can the normal gravity room compare to the school's gravity room? The gravity room exudes a massive amount of pure yang medicinal energy. This medicinal energy is refined from 108 precious medicinal herbs. It is extremely beneficial in repairing injuries and strengthening true essence. If placed in the outside world, this medicinal energy would be worth a sky-high price. But in the school gravity room you can use it at will. This is a benefit the school gives to the elite students. Pure yang medicine energy? Hearing this, Xiaoping's heart skipped a beat. This was the first time he had heard of the mysteries of the school gravity room. If he could train to the limit in the gravity room, he could tear his muscles. Then, he would absorb the pure yang medicinal qi in the gravity training room to quickly repair his injuries and allow his body to transform. Going back and forth, the effect of training the human body would be immeasurably better. Of course. Dean Xiaoyang continued, if you want to use the gravity room, it is not free. You need points to exchange. 100 points can be exchanged for 1 hour of use. But for you, these points shouldn't be a problem. He looked at Xiaoping with a smile. He knew that Xiaoping's family was not poor. Even a descendant of a king's family could not compare with him. Moreover, he also knew Xiaoping's true identity. Xiaoping came from an ordinary background. He was not a descendant of a big family, but he was able to earn a fortune. This was very amazing. Those rich playboys who only knew how to rely on their big families were not even worthy of carrying Xiaoping's shoes. That was why Xiaoyang appreciated him so much and spared no effort to help him. 100 points for 1 hour? Hearing this, Xiaoping immediately smiled. He did not have much, but he had a lot of points. When he was in the Cloud Mountains, he extorted a group of students points and paid each of them 100,000 points. In total, he got 3 million points. Now more than 2 months had passed and all the points had been transferred to his account. It was not an exaggeration to say that he was now the richest among the elite students. Even the core students who had some points might not be able to compare with Xiaoping. After all, to get 3 million points, who knew how many missions he had to complete? It was an astronomical number. Chapter 549. The next day, Xiaoping came to the training tower and wanted to train in the gravity room. But before he could enter, an elite student walked over and said, I'm sorry, Junior. I want this gravity room. You should go somewhere else. He looked like he was up to no good. Xiaoping frowned. He clearly felt that the elite student was doing this on purpose. He didn't plan to enter the gravity room before, but now that he wanted to go in, the elite student went in first. He was clearly looking for trouble. But there were many gravity rooms here, so there was no need for him to argue with the elite student here. He waved his hand and said, it's fine. If Senior needs it, then Senior can use it. I can go to the next gravity room. After saying that, he walked toward the other empty gravity chambers. But when he was about to go to the next gravity room, another elite student walked over and went in before him. I'm sorry, Junior. I'm at a crucial point in my training, and I need the gravity room to assist me. I hope you don't mind if I go in first, the elite student said apologetically and walked in without a care in the world. But Xiaoping didn't see any embarrassment on the elite student's face. Instead, he looked like he was doing it on purpose. I'm sorry, I need this gravity room urgently. Junior, I've already arranged this gravity room. You can go next. That's right. Why don't you come back tomorrow? There are too many people who need the gravity room today. I'm sorry, Junior. You're still a freshman. You don't need to train in a hurry. It's good to take your time and enjoy life. Many elite students spoke to Xiaoping in a sincere and heartfelt manner. The surrounding students also looked at Xiaoping with schadenfreude, as if they were watching a good show. They wanted to know how Xiaoping was going to deal with this situation. It's fine. Since there are no more seats today, I'll come back tomorrow. Xiaoping's expression was calm. No one could tell what he was thinking. The next day, Xiaoping also came wanting to enter the gravity training room. But today was the same. Many elite students fought to get in before Xiaoping. Some even lined up outside the gravity room. It was a lively scene. If Xiaoping wanted to use the gravity room, he would have to wait until the wee hours of the morning. Perhaps there would still be people using it in the wee hours of the morning. These people clearly did not want Xiaoping to enter the gravity room. Even when he left the gravity room and wanted to use some equipment in the training tower, there would always be an elite student who would step forward and take it away in a timely manner, hindering him in every way. Interesting. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. After arriving at the training tower, he found that all the elite students seemed to be rejecting him, treating him like an outsider. No matter what he wanted to do in the training tower, these elite students would stop him and try to disgust him. In short, Xiaoping couldn't do anything in the training tower. Not only today but also tomorrow, the day after, and the day after that. If this was an elementary school or middle school, this would be considered bullying. What are you trying to do? Are you trying to disturb my cultivation? Xiaoping's expression was very calm as he stared at the group of elite students and questioned them directly. How would I dare? You're a man who even dares to fuck a core student. Who would dare to disturb your cultivation? Aren't you afraid that you'll call a core student over to teach us a lesson? An elite student with a protruding mouth and ape-like cheeks looked at Xiaoping with jealousy. When he thought of the relationship between Xiaoping, Qiushue, and Sumei, he felt a little crazy. Qiushue and Sumei were his goddesses, but now they might be fucked by this brat. He might even be defiled day and night. When he thought of this, he could not bear it at all. He was not the only one who felt this way. Many elite students had the same thoughts and were unable to accept this reality. Does a genius like Junior Xia still need to cultivate? He can just lie down and sleep and advance to the king realm. I really envy Junior Xia. Mortals like us can only catch up to a genius like Junior Xia by cultivating hard. Even if he cultivates hard, he might not be able to. A random pill from him is equivalent to several years of cultivation for us. Comparing oneself to others is really infuriating, especially when compared to a genius like Junior Xia. With such talent, why the fuck would he need to cultivate? If it was me, I would play with girls every day and forget about home. Many elite students looked at Xiaoping with cold smiles, and each of them spoke in a strange tone. To be honest, the series of things that Xiaoping had done made them very unhappy. He was clearly just a freshman who was not even worth a fart, but he had actually caused such a big commotion and made such a big scene not long after entering Yanhuang University. And they had been in Yanhuang University for such a long time, but they were unknown. It could be imagined that many of them were jealous of Xiaoping, and some even hated the way Xiaoping was in the limelight. Of course, there were also some people who were neutral. They did not care about it. Perhaps some of them had a good impression of Xiaoping, but under the ostracism of so many people, no one dared to help Xiaoping. This also led to Xiaoping becoming the public enemy, causing him to be ostracized by the elite students. I got it. Xiaoping's expression was very indifferent. He glanced at the elite students around him indifferently. He did not say a word and just left the training tower as if nothing had happened. How strange. An elite student frowned. According to this brat's character, he should have flown into a rage on the spot, but now he actually endured it. It can't be some conspiracy, right? Originally, they wanted to provoke Xiaoping and deliberately make him make a move, then make Xiaoping violate the school rules and be punished by the leaders, but they did not expect him to endure it and leave without saying anything. Conspiracy my ass. An elite student said disdainfully. There are so many of us here and we have the advantage in numbers. What conspiracy can he play? Even if he grows wings, he won't be able to fly far. Probably seeing that we have the advantage in numbers, he is afraid and does not dare to be arrogant, so he ran away with his tail between his legs. After all, this brat's character is a bit fierce, but he is not stupid. Everyone nodded. What they did was clearly an open conspiracy, bullying the weak and using numbers to bully the weak. Even if they reported this to the school, no one would care about Xiaoping. That's right. If this continues, that brat will also ask for trouble. Soon he will be forced to leave Yanhuang University by us. This brat dares to fight us alone. He simply does not know how to write the word death. I guess he will not dare to appear in the training tower in the future. Who cares, we should just step up our training. There is not much time before the genius battle. This time, I must show off in this battle, gain recognition and stand out. Many elite students clenched their fists. The genius battle this time was not only to select the geniuses to enter the Sky Demon battlefield, but also to attract the attention of many kings. Chapter 550. Training Tower Management Office. Xiaoping came to the place and said to the manager, I want to reserve the gravity room for tomorrow. Reserve? When the manager heard this, he was stunned. Very few people would book the gravity room. After all, there were enough gravity rooms for every student. Under normal circumstances, elite students could just come to the gravity room. There was basically no need to line up. Xiaoping couldn't use the gravity room because he was being targeted. Can I reserve it? Xiaoping asked. The manager nodded. Yes, you can. Few people had reserved it before, but it wasn't like there weren't any. It was completely in line with the training tower's rules. That's good. I want to reserve the entire gravity room for 2 months. Xia Ping put up 2 fingers. 2 months. The manager couldn't help but yell, "Are you crazy?" After all, 1 hour was 100 points. A day of 24 hours and 2 months was 60 days. In that case, 2 months would require at least 144,000 points. Even elite students would find it difficult to come up with more than 100,000 points in a short time. After all, they had too many things they needed points to buy. For example, some powerful martial arts manuals, precious pills, elixirs, powerful weapons, shields, and so on. After buying all these things, there wouldn't be much left. That was why 100,000 points was such a huge number that even the manager was surprised. Even though the gravity room was good for martial artists, an hour or 2 was more than enough for a normal martial artist. The energy absorbed would saturate the body cells. Even for those with strong bodies, 7 or 8 hours would be enough. Any more and it would be as bad as falling short. I only have one question. Can I reserve it for a month? Xia Ping asked. That. The manager hesitated, thinking about the various rules of the training tower. In the end he said, "The training tower doesn't say that you can't reserve it for a month. That's fine. Reserve 20 gravity rooms for me." Xia Ping continued. 20 gravity rooms? Hearing this, the manager was completely dumbfounded. He looked at Xia Ping as if he was a lunatic. To reserve 20 gravity chambers he would have to spend 2.88 million points. This kind of points was simply an astronomical figure. Even a normal master couldn't come up with so many points in a short time. Student Xia, why did you reserve 20 gravity chambers? Even if your physique is extremely strong and you can cultivate 24 hours a day, is 1 room enough? The manager couldn't help but ask. No, just 20 rooms. I like the feeling of spaciousness. Xia Ping said carelessly. Spacious? The manager was speechless. He cursed in his heart. Rich people are so willful. Just for the feeling of spaciousness he spent more than 2 million points. This is too exaggerated. Even if you have money you shouldn't spend it like this. He still wanted to dissuade Xia Ping, but Xia Ping immediately said, "All right, don't talk nonsense. Since it's in line with the rules, then do it immediately. Don't be long-winded here." All right. The manager couldn't do anything about it. Who asked them to be so rich? They could spend whatever they wanted. Although he felt heartache, he couldn't stop them from spending money. Therefore he could only book the gravity room for Xia Ping for 2 months. After that, these 20 gravity chambers would belong to Xia Ping. Without his permission, no one could use them for the next 2 months. Rich people are stupid. The manager looked at Xia Ping strangely. He had worked here for more than a decade, but he had never seen someone like Xia Ping. Spending more than 2 million points just to be a little more spacious? It was like he didn't care about money at all. Rich people are stupid? I didn't book 20 gravity chambers for such a ridiculous reason. Xia Ping's eyes flashed coldly. This was his plan to take revenge on those elite students. Those idiots thought that by joining forces they could isolate him, or even stop him from using the training tower's equipment and kick him out of the school. What a joke. This time he would let those idiots know what a motley crew really was. Soon, the news that Xia Ping had booked 20 gravity chambers for 2 months at a cost of 2.88 million points was leaked to all the elite students. Damn it. I didn't think there would be such a trick. He can even book gravity chambers? That kid found a way to break through. An elite student shouted. Because gravity rooms were usually very plentiful, there was basically no one who reserved a gravity room. They had forgotten about this point. That kid is completely crazy. Someone's mouth twitched when he heard the news. It's one thing to book one, but he booked 20 and even booked them for 2 months, spending more than 2 million points. Even if he has money, he shouldn't spend it like this. He's clearly wasting it. He felt very pained. If he had more than 2 million points, he would be able to buy a lot of good stuff. But now, it was all wasted by that prodigal Xia Ping. Damn it too. 88 million points. Where did that kid get so many points from? Does he have any serious corruption problems? Hurry up and send someone to investigate him. I guarantee that he will be locked up for decades. An elite student screamed. His eyes were green with jealousy. He had worked so hard to complete the mission and risked his life, but so far he had only earned 300,000 to 400,000 points. But this kid had just entered the university not long ago, and he could casually take out more than 2 million points. It was too unreasonable. Corruption my ass. He's not an official. How can he be corrupt? An elite student bared his teeth. If I'm not wrong, these points were definitely given by the core students, Senior Chiu and Senior Su. Otherwise, how could he take out so much? Hearing this, everyone suddenly understood. If these points were given by the core students, then everything could be explained. It was not unreasonable for the core students to be rich. Damn, no wonder he's so rich. It turns out that he got it as a gigolo. It's despicable to sell his body. For these points, he even lost his dignity as a man. He even slept with the core students. How can this Xiaoping be so shameless? Bastard. I don't know how many times this guy has served Senior Sister Chiu and Senior Sister Su to get more than 2 million points. I guess he's exhausted. I don't know how much profound chi he has consumed. Look at him. He must have been squeezed dry many times. His legs must have gone soft. I'm not convinced. What? Why can this kid not only sleep with the core students but also take money from them? Why don't they sleep with me? To be honest, my appearance and figure are first class. I don't know how much better than that gigolo. If the two seniors want to sleep with me, I promise I won't struggle and will actively cooperate. Chapter 551. Another day passed. Xiaoping arrived at the training tower and went to the gravity room. This time, no one could stop him because he had spent more than 2 million points to book all 20 gravity rooms. Xiaoping. But before Xiaoping could enter the gravity room, a group of elite students came to Xiaoping and glared at him. Why do you want to book all 20 gravity rooms? Can you afford that many by yourself? And for 2 months, do you think you're making a fool of yourself? Don't play to the gallery. Even if you have money, that's not how you spend it. Hurry up and tell us your real purpose. What are you plotting? The elite students glared at Xiaoping. Although they all thought that Xiaoping was stupid because he had too much money, some people also suspected that Xiaoping's purpose was not simple. Perhaps he was plotting something. Therefore they wanted to find out more. It's none of your business. Xiaoping gave them a sidelong glance. I'm rich so I can book however I want. I like to book 20 rooms. It looks comfortable. How can you poor bastards understand such a realm? Get lost. Good dogs don't block the way. He waved his hand impatiently, shooing the elite students away. Then he strode into the gravity room. What? Hearing this, all the elite students present were incomparably furious. They simply wanted to give Xiaoping a good beating. They had never seen someone who was so arrogant to such an extent. He was too domineering. Damn it. Look at this nouveau riche face. I really want to beat him up. What poor bastard doesn't understand such a realm? This kid is just riding on the coattails of a core student. That's right. If he didn't become a gigolo, how could this kid get so many points? He's clearly a gigolo and yet he's so arrogant. What's wrong with this world? Don't laugh at the poor. Even giggles these days are starting to be arrogant. In my opinion, there's no conspiracy. This kid has nowhere to spend his money, so he's showing off. Many elite students were furious. If this wasn't the training tower, they would have rushed up and torn Xiaoping to pieces. One had to know that all of them came from wealthy families, and no one had ever dared to call them poor. But now, this kid actually dared to call them that. Inside the gravity training room, Xiaoping revealed a mysterious smile. He had also heard the words of the elite students outside. Their words revealed anger, unwillingness, doubt, and other emotions. Although these elite students looked down on his actions, many of them were actually suspicious of his intentions. After all, to be able to become an elite student, which one of them wasn't a proud son of heaven? All of them were shrewd and cunning. If they really thought that others were stupid, then they were the real idiots. Therefore, they still suspected that there was a deeper meaning behind Xiaoping's actions. It was just that they couldn't see it for now. That night, Xiaoping immediately used a sock puppet to spread rumors on the school forum. Rumor has it that in order to take revenge on the elite students, the pretty boy Xiaoping plans to take over the entire gravity room tomorrow. No elite students will be allowed to train in there for 2 months. What? When this news spread out, countless elite students were instantly in an uproar. Is that kid crazy? Do you know how many points it would take to cover the entire gravity chamber for 2 months? Even a core student would go bankrupt. Someone was dumbfounded. There were also people who didn't believe it. This news must be fake. No matter how rich that kid is, he wouldn't spend money like this. That kid really thinks that money falls from the sky. Many people nodded in agreement, thinking that it was impossible to reserve all the gravity chambers in the training tower, and for 2 months at that, the number of points needed was astronomical. Xiaoping's sock puppet continued, Everyone, don't doubt me. There's nothing that this kid can't do. Everyone look, ever since this kid entered Yanhuang University, he's been stirring up trouble without any scruples. He's practically the king of heaven. Tyrannical. Over 100 student clubs have been destroyed by him. Very few ordinary students haven't been beaten up by him. Lustful to the heavens. Even Su Mei's sisters have been wiped out by him. He forced himself on them. Recently he's even more arrogant. He even killed the Black Scorpion King's son, Scorpion 13. He almost caused a war between the demon race and the human race. A madman like him would do anything for the sake of justice. As Xia Ping spoke, the events were laid out one by one, instantly shocking countless elite students. This was the first time they had heard of Xia Ping's entire story. Sweeping over 100 clubs, establishing the Pingtian Gate, harming women, defeating the Wind Chaser gang, killing the entire Wu Gang sect, and even killing the Black Scorpion King's son, Scorpion 13. He almost caused a war between the demon race and the human race. With such an incident laid out, it all proved that this brat was a lawless person who was capable of doing anything. If it were other elite students, they wouldn't believe this rumor at all. However, this kid was Xia Ping. A person's reputation was like a tree's shadow. For the sake of justice, he might really do it. Fuck, if he really bought all the gravity chambers, then how the hell are we going to cultivate? Plus, the genius battle is just around the corner. Without the gravity chambers, my cultivation speed will definitely be greatly reduced. Vicious. This kid is extremely vicious. In order to prevent us from performing well in the genius battle, he purposely bought all the gravity chambers, harming others without benefiting himself. Only that beast Xia Ping would be able to kill 800 enemies and lose 3,000 of his own. No wonder he didn't say anything when we bullied him. So he was planning such a vicious scheme. This kid is a new student. He didn't participate in the genius battle this time, but he can participate next time. But we can't. We only have a few years before graduation. This is our last chance. Despicable and shameless. That bastard knows this and wants to disgust us. What should we do now? I've been practicing a martial art recently. I can't do it without the gravity chambers. If that kid really bought all the gravity chambers for 2 months, then we can only watch. That kid is using a desperate strategy. Is no one going to control him? So what if he's rich? He can buy all the gravity chambers with money. There's no other way. There's no rule in the training tower that says no one can't buy all the gravity chambers. That's right. After all, it takes a lot of points to rent out a gravity room. Which elite student would be willing to part with it? No one has ever discovered this blind spot. Who would have known that this guy is so cruel and has so much money that he has nowhere to spend it? Only he could think of buying all the gravity chambers. Even a prodigal wouldn't be this bad. Many elite students gritted their teeth. They also believed this rumor. If it was Xia Ping, then it was really possible that he would do such a thing. Chapter 552. What? Hearing this news, those elite students were instantly stupefied. Because the news came one after another, and it didn't give them any time to catch their breath. They didn't have any time to think. This was Xia Ping's plan. If these people were given time to think, they might find something fishy. But Xia Ping was careful and released the news at once, leaving them no time to think. Xia Ping remembered that when he was still on Earth, the nuclear facility in Japan exploded. At that time, there were many rumors in the coastal areas, saying that the nuclear pollution had drifted to the coast along with the seawater and would pollute the entire salt field. This would cause the price of salt to skyrocket. It might even cause a national salt shortage. In the end, this news made everyone go crazy. One by one, they rushed to the supermarket to buy the salt. Some even bought a few years' worth of salt. Seeing so many people go crazy, the others also joined in the rush. It should be known that these people's IQs passed. Some were even university professors. But because this kind of rumor spread too quickly, countless people rushed to buy, causing them to lose their minds. They had no time to think about whether this was true or not. As a result, one by one they went to the supermarket, forming a herd mentality, leading to the rush. One person was smart, but a group of people together was stupid. From this, the power of rumors could be seen. Whoosh. Xia Ping immediately appeared in the management office of the training tower. At this time, many elite students also received the news and hurried over. Seeing Xia Ping's figure in this place, their eyes turned green. Xia Ping. An elite student rushed up and glared at Xia Ping. What are you doing here, kid? He was anxious and angry. At the same time he was glad that he believed the words on the forum. Otherwise this animal Xia Ping would have succeeded. The other elite students also glared at Xia Ping, as if they wanted to tear him to pieces. Nothing. I just have some business to do. Xia Ping said carelessly, right, it's so late. What are you guys doing here in groups? Don't you need to sleep? Sleep my ass. The group of elite students gritted their teeth. If they really went back to sleep they were afraid that Xia Ping would really succeed. All the gravity room would be occupied by Xia Ping. Then how could they train for the next 2 months? All of them should just go back to their hometown and plant sweet potatoes. Fuck you. Don't fuck me. Hurry up and scram. An elite student shouted at Xia Ping telling him to scram. Xia Ping said disdainfully, so what if I'm doing some business? It's none of your business. You don't go back to sleep in the middle of the night. Instead, you wander around here all day and have nothing better to do. Are you elite students so free all day? Keep pretending, Xia Ping, keep pretending. Your plot has been completely exposed, do you know that? You want to take over the entire gravity room? Only you can think of such a wasteful thing. To tell you the truth, don't even think about doing business today. Hurry up and go home to sleep. The group of elite students clenched their fists tightly. They all looked as if they wouldn't stop Xia Ping if they didn't stop him. If they really let this brat take over the entire gravity room, then they would really have nothing to do for the next 2 months. Hearing this, Xia Ping revealed a look as if he didn't expect his evil plan to be known. He simply broke the pot and said, well, since you know my plan then I won't hide it. I'll tell you directly. That's right. I've already gathered a large amount of money and plan to take over the entire gravity room for 2 months. Don't you all want to target and ostracize me? That's why I'm very angry. The consequences are very serious. Even if I have to pay a huge price, I'll disgust you all and vent my anger. Anyway, I'm just a new student. Even if I can't do it this time, there's still next time or even the time after that. But you guys can't. Without this opportunity, you'll have to get the hell out of Yanhuang University. Evil? Although they already knew about Xia Ping's evil plan on the forum, hearing it from Xia Ping's own mouth still made them feel a chill from the soles of their feet to the top of their heads. How could there be such a shameless and evil person in the world? To actually pay such a huge price just to vent his anger? He simply didn't treat money as money, harming others without benefiting himself. He would rather suffer a huge loss than let them have a good life. What kind of despicable person was this? He would seek revenge for the smallest grievance. His heart was so vicious that there was no end to it. Alright, since you all know my plan, then I won't waste any more words with you. A bunch of poor bastards, get the hell out of here. Xia Ping waved his hand. Wait until I take over the gravity room, then you guys can just sit outside and watch. Maybe you can run outside or lift weights. This kind of exercise is very suitable for poor bastards like you. He put on a rich and overbearing look, clearly wanting to use money to smash people until they started to doubt their own lives. Poor my ass. Don't think you're the only one with money. You want to use money to smash us? Dream on. Isn't it just 2 months of gravity rooms? Only 100,000 points? We have that too. That's right. You're not the only one who can take over the gravity room. We can too. Many elite students clenched their fists and stared at Xia Ping. They had also thought of a plan to take over the gravity room. After all, Xia Ping wasn't the only one who could do it. They had the qualifications too. Really? Don't force yourself. Xia Ping's face was full of doubt. Force your ass. Although 100,000 points is a lot, it's not like we don't have any. Even if we don't have any, we can still raise funds. With a few of us, each of us can take out tens of thousands of points. That's a piece of cake. If that's not enough, we can take out a loan. All the elite students sneered at Xia Ping. Although they didn't have as much money as Xia Ping, if they really wanted to take out tens of thousands of points, they could just barely do it. Although they all felt that it was a waste of money, in order to resist Xia Ping's evil plan, they had no choice but to take out this sum of money. Otherwise they would really be cheated by Xia Ping. Alright, let's see how much money you have. After saying this, Xia Ping smiled and glanced at the elite students around him. He knew that his plan had succeeded. He pretended to be flustered and exasperated, then turned around and left. Ah, this is so cool. Looking at Xia Ping's flustered and exasperated expression makes my whole body feel good. My scheme has been exposed. That's all there is to it. This kid wants to fight us? He really doesn't know what's good for him. Hurry up and go back to raise funds. Don't let Xia Ping take it all. If that happens, we'll all be cheated to death. Of course, 100,000 points is nothing. We definitely can't let his scheme succeed. Chapter 553. Book me a gravity training room for 2 months. Me too. I'll book it together. In order to prevent Xiaoping from booking all the gravity rooms and causing the people around him to be unable to use them, many elite students went to the management office to book gravity rooms for 2 months, just like Xiaoping. Immediately, a small portion of the gravity rooms were booked by the elite students present. And this news quickly spread to the ears of all the elite students. What did you say? A large portion of the gravity rooms have been booked and they're going to be gone soon? That's impossible. Didn't they say that there were enough gravity rooms? How could they be gone so soon? Because of Xiaoping, the other elite students are also fighting for the right to use the gravity rooms. If they don't act fast, they'll all be taken. Many elite students were shocked. They didn't go online before, so they didn't know about this. By the time they found out, a portion of the gravity rooms had already been taken. At this time, Xiaoping created a sock puppet and immediately posted a message on the internet to threaten the other elite students. According to reliable sources, only a small portion of the gravity rooms are left. If you don't book them now, there won't be any empty gravity rooms for the next 2 months. What? If they were just shocked before, then they were completely shocked now. They didn't expect the situation to be this critical. They might not be able to use the gravity rooms for the next 2 months. Damn it, the genius battle is about to start. The gravity rooms are extremely important to me. The diamond protection art I'm cultivating needs the omnipresent gravity in the gravity room to refine every inch of my muscles, bones, and cells. That's the only way I can cultivate it to great completion. Isn't that right? My green wind brushing willow sword art, if I can use it freely under 10 times the gravity, the power of my sword art will increase by at least 10 times. 2 months of training can completely raise my combat power to a new level. Now you're telling me that I won't be able to use it for the next 2 months? No, we have to book the gravity rooms in advance. Otherwise, we won't be able to get any. Booking for 2 months costs more than 100,000 points? That's nothing. If we can win the genius battle, this is just a small amount. Many elite students were going crazy. They hadn't expected that the originally plentiful gravity training room would be occupied by others at this time. They might not be able to use it for the next 2 months. And at such a critical moment, how could they bear it? Some of the elite students who had been watching the show from the sidelines, thinking that they wouldn't be affected, were now afraid. If this happened, they wouldn't be able to use the gravity chambers, and they might lose out in the upcoming genius battle. All of them were scared out of their wits. They rushed to the training tower's management office to book gravity training rooms. In the end, the originally plentiful gravity room was snatched up by the elite students. Some people were rich enough to order 5 rooms at once. Some people gritted their teeth and took out more than 100,000 points. Some people really did not have the money, so they could only team up with a few companions and buy it together. Some of them even took out loans from the school and used their privileges as elite students to obtain a large number of points to reserve a gravity training room. In just one day, hundreds of gravity training rooms had been swept clean, not leaving a single spot. The elite students who hadn't made a move yet and were still watching were completely scared out of their wits. There really wasn't a single gravity training room left. Even if they had the points, they wouldn't be able to buy one. In other words, they wouldn't be able to use the gravity training room for the next 2 months. Normally, it wouldn't be a big deal even if they didn't use the gravity training room for 2 months. But in 2 months, it would be the genius battle, and it was the critical time to strengthen one's martial arts. Without the help of the gravity training room, many elite students wouldn't be able to increase their strength, and this made many people go crazy. Gone. All the gravity training rooms are gone. Damn it. Why did this happen? Didn't they say the gravity training room was plentiful? Now they're telling me I can only use it in 2 months? It'll be too late by then. Those bastards are crazy. What's the use of reserving for 2 months? Some people even reserve 20 rooms. Are they planning to use them as toilets? They're occupying the toilet but not taking a shit. Is no one going to do anything? Hogging public resources like this is too much. A group of elite students who hadn't reserved a gravity training room were infuriated. They protested to the management, asking for them to be revoked. But it was useless because this wasn't against the rules. The management couldn't immediately refuse the unreasonable request. So what if they're angry? They can't change the reality. It's time to wrap things up. Hearing this news, Xiaoping smiled faintly and a glimmer of light flashed in his eyes. These were all his plans, which he had learned from some bad real estate businessmen in his previous life. In his previous life on Earth, a group of real estate speculators came to an area. First, they bought a portion of the houses and spread the news that the prices of the houses in the area would rise rapidly. In the beginning, only some people believed it and bought it. Most people were still skeptical. A small number of people snorted, saying how could the prices of such a rubbish place rise? They said it wouldn't rise in their lifetime. After a while, the group of real estate speculators spread the news again, saying that the prices of houses had doubled, and there were only a dozen houses left. If they missed this opportunity, there wouldn't be any more in the future, and the prices would rise tenfold. When the locals heard this, they were scared half to death. They found out that the prices of houses had indeed risen, and there weren't many houses left. Every single one of them rushed to buy houses. These people came one after another, creating a wave of panic. The prices of the houses in the entire area were pushed to an extremely high level. Everyone was afraid that the prices would continue to rise. The group of real estate speculators took advantage of this time to sell the houses they had obtained at the beginning. They bought low and sold high, making a huge profit. They toyed with everyone in the palm of their hands. Now Xiaoping was using the same method. He purposely made everyone reserve the gravity training room, turning the originally rare gravity training room into a rare one. Most people couldn't use it. Then there was only one way to go, and that was to raise the price. Xiaoping immediately spread the news to the other elite students. He said he had 20 gravity training rooms for elite students who needed to train, but it would cost 300 points per hour. This price was 3 times higher than before. What? Chapter 554. 300 points per hour? You might as well go rob me. Hearing this news, an elite student cursed loudly. He looked at Xiaoping as if he was a madman. Previously, the gravity room only cost 100 points per hour. But in the hands of this kid, it had become 300 points per hour. The price had increased by 3 times. If this wasn't robbery, then what would be? If this kid could sell it at 3 times the original price, he could probably earn a few million points. This was clearly robbery. He wanted to get rich overnight. The group of elite students glared at this black-hearted businessman. Thinking about how this kid could earn so many points, their eyes turned green. If you don't want it, then forget it. I'll raise the price tomorrow. If you don't want it, then 500 points per hour. Xiaoping was very calm. He didn't care about this poor elite student. Even if this kid couldn't afford it, someone else would. Moreover, some elite students just happened to be in need. They were at a bottleneck in their cultivation. Without the gravity room, they probably wouldn't be able to break through. Still rising? Tomorrow, 500 points per hour? Many people were completely dumbfounded. They thought Xiaoping was completely crazy. How could he come up with such a price? Not satisfied with 3 times the original price, now he wanted to raise it by 5 times. Did he really think their points came from the wind? Xiaoping, you black-hearted businessman. You want to raise the price by 500 points? You must be crazy to earn money. Whoever would agree to use 500 points to buy the right to use your gravity room is an idiot. An elite student shouted. He didn't believe that anyone would buy the right to use Xiaoping's gravity room. Raising the price by 5 times in one go was crazy. That's right. You're not the only one with a gravity room. Another elite student sneered. Others have also reserved gravity rooms. We can totally rent them. They definitely won't be as black-hearted as you. That's right. Let your gravity room rot in your hands. Who would fall for a black-hearted businessman like you? Some elite students gritted their teeth. They definitely wouldn't spend so many points to buy the right to use Xiaoping's gravity room. They thought that there were other options. There was no need to hang on to Xiaoping. Whatever. Xiaoping waved his hand, telling these elite students to scram. He was very calm. Many elite students left angrily. They went to find other people who had reserved the gravity training room, wanting to rent it for 100 points per hour. However, they were disappointed. This group of people refused to lend it to them. They all said that they would only be willing to rent it for 300 points per hour. 300 points per hour? You're fucking Xiaoping. You're robbing. Do you have any humanity? Earning so much? Aren't you afraid of having a son? We're classmates. 300 points per hour, and the price is 3 times higher than before. Do you think it's appropriate for you to state such a ridiculous price? The group of elite students cursed loudly. They hadn't expected that this group of people who were supposed to be their companions would also show signs of wanting to cheat them of a large number of points. Their original expectations were completely shattered. The people who were in the same group as them actually stood on Xiaoping's side. That was then and this is now. That's right. We booked it for 2 months and lost over 100,000 points. That's right, that's right. If we don't make some money now, are you going to cover our losses? Ping. Ping 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 as well as they wanted. Well as said, they as well as they could. Piss off if you don't have the money. Don't use the gravity room. Go for a run or a lift. That's perfect for poor people like you. When they saw Xiaoping suddenly raise the price by 5 times, they immediately knew Xiaoping's scheme. He clearly wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to make a fortune. Their eyes lit up. They thought they'd found a way to make a fortune when they saw Xiaoping suddenly raise the price by 5 times. After all, they had spent more than 100,000 points to reserve a gravity training room. They had thought that it was all for naught, but now it seemed that not only had it not been for naught, but they had even made a huge profit. They immediately became excited and their blood boiled. If the price was raised by 5 times, they could sell it for more than 700,000 points. That would be 5 to 600,000 points. They wouldn't be able to make such a fortune even if they worked for years. But now that it was within their reach, no fool would give it up. Even if they couldn't make 5 times the profit, 3 times the profit would still be a big one. Therefore, even if they knew about Xiaoping's scheme, they wouldn't expose it. They wouldn't undermine him because they had vested interests and were already standing on the same boat as Xiaoping. Shameless to the extreme. Have you forgotten? Xiaoping is our enemy. How did you all become like this? Have you forgotten our friendship just for a few points? We're classmates. Won't you have a conscience if you earn this kind of black-hearted money? We should unite. Don't let that black-hearted Xiaoping drive a wedge between us. That's right. We should take out the gravity room like before. Many elite students tried their best to dissuade them, hoping that they'd realize their mistakes and not be blinded by greed. Scram. That group of people had only said one word. They thought their glib tongue could make them give up hundreds of thousands or even millions of points. These people were either idiots or harboring evil intentions. They were all adults. How could they be so naive? Bastards. The elite students' faces darkened. They clenched their fists, the veins on their foreheads popping. They didn't expect that these classmates who had a good relationship with each other would suddenly change their attitudes in the face of profit. They were no longer united and united against a common enemy. The group that had formed an alliance to deal with Xiaoping had immediately fallen apart. There was even a gap between them. Even if this matter ended, they would probably never be on good terms again. Friendship. Xiaoping sneered. This kind of thing was too illusory. He couldn't deny that in this world, there existed friendship that transcended life and death. There existed friendship that could sacrifice everything for others. However, 99% of people didn't have this kind of thing. At least, the people present didn't have this kind of thing. They were just ordinary people who would betray others for a bit of profit. They didn't betray others before because the profit wasn't enough. With tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even millions of points in front of them, who could guarantee that their temperament wouldn't change? Even though those people spoke in a dignified manner, saying that they had a guilty conscience, if they had their own gravity room they would benefit from it. They would be able to earn hundreds of thousands or even millions of points, which would definitely be a different story. It was similar to those who speculated in real estate. Those who didn't own a house would complain about the high prices. However, those who owned a house might not say it, but they were secretly happy in their hearts. The higher the prices, the better. This was human nature. We'll definitely win this time. Chapter 555. Damn it, these black-hearted businessmen. Their hearts are as black as Xiaoping's. I couldn't see their true colors before, but now I can. You really can't judge a book by its cover. Bastards in human form, I hope we can unite. As long as we unite and don't go to the gravity room, we can endure for 2 months. Those guys will naturally collapse. That's right, these bastards can only endure for 2 months. Sooner or later they will all collapse and lose hundreds of thousands. These bastards are going to die. Many elite students were cursing and swearing, using vicious words to curse this group of black-hearted elite students. They actually wanted to earn black-hearted money at this time. They were simply shameless to the extreme. But in just half a day, this so-called gang immediately collapsed. Some people couldn't wait that long. There were only 2 months left until the genius battle. In these 2 months, every second was a race against time. They couldn't waste any time. Some people could endure because they didn't need the gravity room at all. It was easy to talk. Some people couldn't endure because their cultivation had reached a bottleneck. If they didn't borrow the gravity room, they wouldn't be able to break through. Moreover, although 300 points per hour was a lot, in fact they didn't even need to rent it for a day. Just 1 or 2 hours per day was enough. Therefore it was only 500 or 600 points. For elite students it was only a small number. It wasn't unbearable. Although there weren't many people like this, just a few of them were enough to make many elite students' mental defenses collapse. This was the so-called 1,000-mile dam collapses because of an ant's nest. Soon this group of elite students completely collapsed. No one wanted to resist anymore. I want it. 2 hours. I want 3 hours a day at least for a month. I'll fight anyone who dares to compete with me. Quite a few elite students stepped forward to purchase the rights to use the gravity room from those black-hearted merchants. The price was 300 points per hour. Immediately, a group of people laughed so hard that their eyes almost disappeared. How could there be such a good business in this world? Damn it. Everyone's eyes turned green, but they couldn't stop them. After all, these people were at a bottleneck. If they tried to stop them, wouldn't they be making a mortal enemy of them? In just one day the crowd was so excited that more than half of it had been reserved. It was a situation where the supply could not meet the demand. But even so, most people still couldn't use it and the supply couldn't meet the demand. The rest of the students who hadn't sold the right to use the gravity room saw this and knew what it meant to be a rare commodity. They didn't hesitate to raise the price 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, and after a few days the price had risen to 10 times. Some people clamored for a price of 1,000 points per hour, and they would not sell it even if it was 1 point less. Compared to a week ago, Xiaoping's offer of 5 times the price was simply too cheap. 8,000 points an hour. This is daylight robbery. No, it's worse than daylight robbery. Previously, when that black-hearted Xiaoping said 500 points per hour, I thought he was black-hearted. Now, someone is offering 1,000 points per hour. Damn, I actually think Xiaoping's price is very cheap. It's only half, how can it not be cheap? Don't think that the current price is very high. Someone said that if it continues like this, the price might still rise. It might even rise to 10,000 points per hour. Fuck his grandpa, 10,000 points per hour for a month. Why doesn't he go to heaven? Does he really think this is some dragon meat or phoenix blood? This is not how you scam people. This is just an exaggeration. Even if it doesn't reach 10,000 points per hour, it might reach 2,000, or even 3,000 points per hour. That's very possible. Bastards, this group of black-hearted bastards who only see money. Sooner or later, they'll have a son who will lose his virginity. Many elite students were scared silly. This was the first time they had seen the power of the price increase. It was so high that they began to doubt their lives. Who would have thought that the right to use the gravity room would rise to such an extent? Some elite students actually didn't want to enter the gravity room to cultivate. Instead, they saw that there was a profit to be made. Instantly, they became envious and raised the price to buy the right to use the gravity room. Then they would sell it at a higher price, buying low and selling high. However, there were also some students who just needed the gravity room to cultivate. They were also afraid that the price would continue to rise. Therefore, they gritted their teeth and bought the right to use the gravity room no matter how expensive it was. The problem was that by doing so, the price continued to rise. There was no way to stop it. At this time, everyone had gone crazy. They had almost lost their minds. Some wanted to buy low and sell high to make a profit. Some just needed it, and some were loan sharks, adding fuel to the fire. As for the instigator, Xiaoping could no longer remember him. Xiaoping took advantage of the frenzy of the crowd and quickly sold the 19 gravity chambers in his possession at the price of 500 points per hour. This price was far from 10 times the price. It was simply too cheap. A group of people rushed to buy without hesitation. It was as if they didn't see money as money. Some people even looked down on Xiaoping for selling so cheaply. At this time, no one remembered their grudge with Xiaoping. No one mentioned going against him. They just wanted to buy the gravity rooms at a low price and sell them to make a fortune. Xiaoping's expression was very calm. Although he didn't sell them at the highest price, he still made 5 times the original price. So far he had earned more than 13 million points. Even among the core students, not many had such points. It was enough to buy anything in the school. It could be said that with such a simple scheme, all the points that those elite students had painstakingly earned were all plundered into his hands, and he made a huge fortune. A group of elite students were all working for him. Who's the smart one and who's the idiot? It's hard to say. Xiaoping didn't feel it was a pity that he couldn't sell them at the highest price. In fact, selling them at the highest price was just a fantasy. At that time, no one would be stupid enough to buy them at a high price. At that time, even if there was such a price, no one would be able to sell them. It was better to sell them at a slightly lower price and earn 5 times the original price. That was the real benefit. Without the benefit in hand, it would only be a pavilion in the air, a flower in the mist and the moon in the water. Most importantly, such a foul behavior would sooner or later alarm the higher-ups of the school. At that time, an administrative order would come down and all the people who tried to create hype would die. It's time to quit and focus on cultivation. Xiaoping was very calm. He had already sold all the gravity rooms he had. All that was left was to sit on the mountain and watch the tigers fight. Chapter 556. Another week passed. The sale of the gravity room was in full swing, and the price kept rising. It even reached 5,000 points per hour, which was 50 times more than before. At this time, the elite students were completely crazy. They didn't care whether it was worth the price or not. They only knew that if they could sell the right to use the gravity room, they would be able to make a fortune. They wouldn't have to worry about the expenses for a few years. How could there be such a profitable business in the world? There was one right now. However, the price of 5,000 points per hour was too shocking. It was so high that people could only look up to it in admiration. Many people who needed it couldn't afford it at all and flinched away. No, it can't go on like this. 5,000 points per hour? Are you kidding me? This is scarier than robbery. I worked so hard to complete the missions and earn points, and now they're all taken away by these black-hearted businessmen. If this goes on, we won't be able to train anymore. Report this to the school authorities. This is a public resource of the school, not a toy for these rich students. Therefore, these people immediately reported to the school authorities and complained about the black-hearted businessmen. During the appeal period, some people fought for the right to use the gravity room, and a few students were sent to the hospital. This incident completely alarmed the school authorities. They also knew about it. They didn't expect that someone would sell the right to use the gravity room and raise the price to such a high. They investigated for a few days and were shocked. If this continued, many elite students would go bankrupt. This would cause serious problems for the school. Because in order to sell, many students even borrowed from loan sharks. The interest was very high, and if they couldn't pay it back, there would be serious consequences. Some people might even die, and it would affect the whole school. This is crazy. In just a few weeks, the price went from 100 points to 5,000 points. Foul atmosphere, too foul atmosphere. Borrowing money from others, is he still a student? If this continues, who else will use the gravity room? The gravity room is for people to train in, not for publicity. Deal with it immediately. Otherwise, who knows how far these people will go before they stop. A group of school authorities cursed. They realized the seriousness of the matter and immediately dealt with it with a heavy fist. They ordered that no one was allowed to sell the right to use the gravity room. Violators would be punished immediately, and the more serious ones would be expelled from the school. At the same time, they also stipulated that each person could only reserve one gravity training room in the future, and they could only reserve it for one day. The price was also fixed. It could not exceed 500 points per hour. Anything above that would be ineffective. As soon as these rules were announced, the price of the gravity room was hit hard. Immediately, the price of the gravity chamber plummeted. It dropped from 5,000 points to 500 points, and soon, it even dropped to 100 points. The price returned to its original point. Many people howled in grief. They had suffered great losses because some of them had bought the goods at the highest price, thinking that they could make a huge profit. However, who would have thought that the school would make such a rule? According to the current price, they had lost more than 90% of their money and were almost bankrupt. The school leaders have done a good job. This is very satisfying. This is too satisfying. I've suffered a great loss to these opportunistic bastards. Who asked them to hype things up, and now we don't even have a gravity chamber to use. This is a good time to teach them a lesson. This is great. No one can be fired in the future. Let's see if they still dare to do it. Many elite students felt extremely comfortable. Previously, they had been scammed by these black-hearted merchants. Each of them had to pay an extremely high price just to use the gravity room once. All the points that they had worked so hard to earn were lost inside. Needless to say how painful it was. Now that they saw the school deal with this matter with a heavy fist, causing those people who were trying to hype things up to no avail, they all felt extremely happy. They felt that this was something to be happy about. Leader, we protest. That's right. We spend hundreds of thousands of points. Can't be gone just like that. This is clearly robbery. They burned our money. This is too much. There must be a compensation agreement. Otherwise we will go crazy and cause trouble. That's right. I suggest the school pay to take back my gravity room rights. The elite students who had tried to speculate turned green. They tried to protest, wanting the school to compensate for their losses. Some even tried to go against the school leaders, smashing, robbing, and making the matter worse. However, it was useless. Under the school's high pressure, any objection was rebutted. Some people who tried to smash, rob, and burn were directly locked up by the school. If they dared to continue causing trouble, they would be expelled from Jianghu University. Damn it. Seeing the school's high pressure and iron-blooded methods, the group of people immediately shriveled. They no longer dared to make a sound. They could only silently swallow this loss and admit that they had lost hundreds of thousands of points. After all, if they were really expelled from Jianghu University, the loss would not only be hundreds of thousands of points. Even millions of points would not be enough to make up for it. Even their reputation would be ruined, and no martial arts organization would dare to take them in. This is the result of being greedy. You always want to earn more, but you don't know how to choose. If you don't give up, you won't gain anything. Xia Ping also knew about this matter. However, he did not feel sorry for these greedy people at all. They only had themselves to blame. Fortunately, he had sold the gravity rooms in time and avoided a disaster. Otherwise, the gravity rooms would have been ruined in his hands, and no one would have paid a high price for them. Could be said that he was the biggest winner this time. He had earned more than 10 million points, which he plundered from countless elite students. Who knew how many good things he could buy? If other elite students knew about this, they would probably go crazy. I'm about to break through to the sixth sky of Martial Master. In the past few weeks, Xia Ping did not care about the outside world. He had been training hard in the gravity room. At the same time, he had the water moon grass, energy stones, and other treasures to help his cultivation progress rapidly. He had tempered his body, and the true essence in his body increased crazily. He had already broken through 7 or 8 meridians. In a few days, he would be able to completely break through 12 meridians and reach the sixth sky of Martial Master. Once I reach the sixth sky of Martial Master, I will have the power to compete with advanced martial masters. Even in the battle of geniuses, I will have a chance to advance. Xia Ping clenched his fists. He had already set his sights on the battle of geniuses. Another day passed. Xia Ping came to the training tower as usual. This time, he felt that he had already reached the peak of the fifth sky of Martial Master. Maybe he could break through to the sixth sky of Martial Master today. Chapter 557. Aya, isn't this senior brother Qindong? Intercepting me here, are you going to treat me to a meal? Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. He could see that the leader of this group of elite students was the elite student Qindong, an expert at the 7th level of the Martial Master realm. Treat my ass. Qindong gritted his teeth. Because of this incident, he had lost hundreds of thousands of points. It was a huge loss. He had lost several years of savings and even owed usury. Many people wanted to settle the score with him. It could be said that he was a complete pauper. Even his girlfriend had abandoned him because of this incident, but this guy actually wanted him to treat him to a meal. It was simply a dream. If you don't want to treat me, then forget it. A good dog doesn't block the way. Xia Ping waved his hand and was about to walk in. Stop right there. Qindong shouted angrily, don't play dumb here. How dare you pretend to be innocent here? If it wasn't for you maliciously hyping up this incident and leading us into this trap, we wouldn't have suffered such heavy losses this time. Some people even went bankrupt and couldn't even pay for tomorrow's food expenses. You must give me an explanation today. Many people glared at Xia Ping. All of them had suffered heavy losses in this incident and lost an unknown amount of money. Since the school couldn't compensate them, they naturally had to find someone who should compensate them. As the main culprit, Xia Ping naturally wouldn't shirk his duty. An explanation? Xia Ping sneered. You didn't give me an explanation when you earned money. Now that you've lost money, you want me to give you an explanation? You want me to give you an explanation? Who is going to give me an explanation? He was very unhappy. A group of paupers who had lost all their money actually wanted him to give them an explanation. It seemed like they wanted him to compensate these people for their losses. If he really lost money, wouldn't the other elite students flock to him? No matter how much money he had, it wouldn't be enough. Moreover, this group of people really thought that he was a pushover. They thought that he could be bullied casually and that they could extort him successfully. Qin Dong sneered. You're still pretending here? Tell me, how much money did you earn this time? I've asked around and you sold it for 5 times the original price. It can't be faked. Through simple mathematical calculations, you've earned at least 13 million points this time. Shouldn't you compensate us for our losses after earning so much? If it weren't for us, how could you have earned so many points? We also have a share of the profits. He had already investigated this matter thoroughly and knew how many points Xiaoping had earned. The other elite students also looked at Xiaoping with envy. They had suffered heavy losses this time. They had lost at least hundreds of thousands of points. Some had even lost hundreds of thousands or millions of points. But this kid had earned more than 10 million points for nothing. The difference was too great. They felt it was unfair, so they wanted to get a share of the profits and extort a sum of money to make up for the deficit. Indeed, I've earned so much, but this is based on my own ability. It's none of your business. Xiaoping cast a sidelong glance at the group of elite students. Damn it, it really is true. We've all lost hundreds of thousands of points, but this guy has earned more than 10 million points. This is so infuriating. How can he earn so much? God is so unfair. If this kid had left a little later, he would have definitely lost a few million. The gravity room would have been ruined in his hands, but he ran too fast. This money is all black-hearted money. It's all stolen from us. The group of elite students gritted their teeth. Although they had already expected it, hearing Xiaoping admit it made all of them go crazy with jealousy. They wanted to rob all of Xiaoping's wealth and take it for themselves. It's good that you admit it. Qin Dong looked at Xiaoping sinisterly and shouted, hurry up and hand over all the money you've earned to make up for our deficit. Otherwise, you'll lose your virginity after earning so much black-hearted money. You'll suffer retribution. He cursed them viciously. Retribution? A group of stray dogs who have lost so much money that they don't even have pants left want money from me to make up for the deficit. You don't even know how to spell the word death. If you want money from me, kneel down immediately. If you kneel until I'm comfortable, I'll give you tens of thousands of points. Xiaoping looked at these people with a cold smile. What did you say? Hearing this, the group of elite students were so angry that their lungs were about to explode. They didn't dare to believe what they had heard. Bastard, how dare a junior talk to a senior like this? Do you know how much you're worth? An elite student suddenly flew into a rage. With a boom, a huge airflow came out of his body, spurting out from his 108,000 pores. With his body as the center, a terrifying aura was produced, causing the surrounding students to fly out. He displayed the power of a martial master in the sixth heaven. With a slap, he clenched his hand and condensed his chi into a saber. It contained a destructive vitality and slashed down at Xiaoping in the air. It was as if the earth was going to be split in half. Xiaoping didn't even look at it. He just slapped out with his palm. Immovable Buddha's palm. The power of this palm was many times stronger than before. It already contained a hint of immovable 8 directions, and like Buddha's heart, the power was unparalleled like a Buddha Vajra. His palm contained Buddha's light, solemn and dignified, with the power to subdue demons. Dong. The elite student let out a shrill scream. His saber technique was completely broken. He was smashed into pieces with a single slap. Even the qigong on his body was torn apart in a second. His whole body was firmly smashed on his chest by this slap. A clear palm print was left on his chest, and his body was sent flying. He flew hundreds of meters in the air before smashing into the ground with a thud. More than 10 bones in his body were broken, and his internal organs were severely injured. He was lying on the ground like a turtle. Ah! The elite student screamed again and again. His face was red. He was ashamed and angry to the extreme. He was sent flying by a junior brother with a slap. He was beaten until he was lying on the ground like a turtle in front of so many students. This was simply a loss of face. You don't have the ability to stand up for others. Do you understand how I feel when I beat people up? Senior, you're overestimating yourself. Today I'll teach you one thing. Don't be arrogant in school in the future. When you see me, you have to tuck your tail between your legs. Xiaoping looked down at the elite student. Otherwise, I'll beat up people like you every time I see them. I'll beat them until even your girlfriend can't recognize you. Do you understand? He clenched his fists. Pooh. The elite student couldn't take it anymore. He was so angry that his lungs felt like they were going to explode. He coughed up a mouthful of blood and his eyelids turned white. He actually fainted from anger. Chapter 558. Bastard, a junior dares to do such a vicious thing to a senior? Just because he has some strength, he even dares to humiliate a senior. This is too much. Let's attack together and kill him. This is a provocation to our senior. This is a humiliation to our dignity. If we don't destroy his prestige, who will still listen to us? In an instant, the group of elite students immediately became furious. Each of them used their qigong and controlled the airflow. In an instant, they surrounded Xia Ping with a murderous look. All of them were experts at the fifth heaven of martial master and were proficient in king-level qigong. Their strength was tyrannical. When they joined forces, their qigong resonated with each other, forming a terrifying aura that crushed over. Even martial arts experts would be suppressed under this aura, and they would be scared out of their wits. Among them, the fastest one was Qindong. With a clang, he pulled out a big saber in his hand and immediately a purple flame emerged from his body. This flame contained a terrifying destructive power. The surrounding students were all shocked. This flame saber was extremely powerful and contained a killing intent like the autumn wind. Once it hit the enemy, it could instantly take away all the vitality of the enemy. This huge saber chi descended, tearing the air apart. The air vibrated thousands of times, and the momentum was astonishing. Even a small mountain would be completely cut under such saber chi. You're courting death. Xia Ping's eyes revealed a trace of coldness. The pure yang immortal incantation in his body began to operate. Feeling the attack of countless forces, the hell golden crow cells in his body trembled. The true essence in the depths of his dantian seemed to be greatly stimulated. It became stronger and stronger, like boiling lava, flowing between his meridians. Clapless palm. He slapped out with his palm and countless palm shadows appeared in the void. Even each palm print contained unparalleled power, like an ancient giant, able to uproot mountains and fill the sea. Dong. This palm hit Qindong's body fiercely, instantly smashing his qigong defense. The tyrannical palm force penetrated every corner of his body. Qindong screamed and his body flew backward, smashing into a group of students behind him. 5 or 6 people were sent flying, colliding with each other, and their bones were shattered. What? How can this kid be so strong? Even an expert at the 7th heaven of martial master is no match for him? Did he take drugs? How can he be so strong? This kid is only a 5th division martial master. How could he be so strong? What energy art does he cultivate? The surrounding elite students were all incomparably shocked. Their hearts twitched violently. One had to know that Qindong was an expert of the 7th heaven of martial master. He was already an advanced martial master. Even among the elite students, they could be considered as decent experts. Against a freshman, it would be easy for them to deal with him. That was what they all thought before. But now, senior Qindong was as weak as a baby in front of Xia Ping. With a single palm strike, he was sent flying and fell to the ground, coughing out blood non-stop. His body twitched non-stop like a dead dog, unable to speak at all. Die. Xia Ping rushed forward like a tiger in a flock of sheep. His fists and kicks exploded with the might of a ferocious beast, bombarding those elite students. Bastard. Instantly, the group of elite students were all incomparably shocked. Who would have thought that this brat would be so ferocious as to dare to attack so many of them? Bang bang bang. Suddenly, the group of elite students was caught off guard. They were hit one after another, their energy vibrating. At this moment, with Xia Ping as the center, they were sent flying in all directions. They flew for dozens of meters and finally smashed into the ground, creating a deep pit. One by one they fell to the ground like turtles. They could not help but spit out blood, dyeing the ground red. Too strong. Too strong. This kid just became an elite student not long ago. No wonder he destroyed the Windchaser bandits, killed the entire Unable gang, and even killed Scorpion 13. This is too terrifying. This kind of strength is enough to sweep away all enemies. He is already so strong now. When he advances to the peak of the martial master realm, who can be his opponent? This battle had also alarmed many elite students in the training tower. They all came out to watch, and they also saw Xia Ping display his invincible might, easily taking care of Qindong's group, beating them until they were lying on the ground like turtles, unable to move. They could not help but clench their fists. Previously there were many rumors about Xia Ping, but they thought that they were all exaggerated. To have such a battle record, perhaps it was because he used high-tech martial arts techniques and used all kinds of schemes. It was not because this kid was strong in martial arts. But now that they saw Xia Ping's battle, they were completely shocked. These elite students realized that even in martial arts, he was above many elite students. No one could underestimate him. You want to find trouble with me with this little ability? Aren't you afraid that others will laugh their heads off? Xia Ping looked down at Qindong and the others. You all have no ability, but you think of some crooked ways. You want to stop me from entering the training tower and extort money. Stand up. If you have the guts, stand up and try to be arrogant again. Let me see what kind of 3 heads and 6 arms you have. How dare you extort me? He clenched his fists, making cracking sounds. What the hell? The elite students next to him had strange expressions. This kid did not give them any face at all. It was clearly a slap in the face in public. He did not give these people a chance to step down at all. The faces of Qindong and the others were blue and purple. They were extremely sullen. They had been beaten down by Xia Ping in public without being able to fight back. This in itself was a great humiliation. Now they were humiliated by Xia Ping's words, which made them unable to step down. They were so angry that they even wanted to kill Xia Ping now. But before Xia Ping could continue to speak, a deep voice came from the depths of the training tower. It was vast and majestic like thunder buzzing. Kid, you are the rumored genius Xia Ping. You are indeed arrogant, but you have some ability. But do you know what too hard is easy to break means? You don't give people face and humiliate your seniors in public. Is this your duty as a junior? Do you know what it means to respect your seniors? You are so arrogant as a freshman. If you wait a few years and advance to the master realm, won't you be so arrogant? I'm afraid you won't even care about the king. As your senior, I have to teach you a lesson. You should know your limits. Get over here. Chapter 559. Rumble. As the hand descended, it was like the hand of a giant, with enough power to shake mountains. Xia Ping suddenly felt like he was suffocating, as if his energy were being locked down by the hand. It was like Mount Tai was crushing down on him, making it impossible for him to escape. This level of power surpassed that of any martial master he had ever encountered. At the very least, he was an expert of the 8th division of the martial master level or higher. Even amongst elite students, he would be considered one of the top experts, on the verge of reaching the grandmaster level. With such power, it was easy to imagine how arrogant he could be. However, Xia Ping wasn't afraid. Eyes shining with cold light, he said, "You want to teach me a lesson? Aren't you afraid that the wind will cut your tongue? Wait until you're strong enough before you talk to me again." Drawing on his energy arts, he unleashed them, causing 108,000 pores on his body to erupt with terrifying power, like a jet plane. The ground quaked, and the elite students could sense that Xia Ping's energy was many times stronger than before. It was almost as if he were revealing his true power. The air in the area was distorted by his energy arts. In the blink of an eye, Xia Ping's fist shot out to meet the enormous hand head-on. Shameless boasting. You don't know the height of the heavens and the breadth of the earth. How many experts have you ever met in your life? Today I'll show you how insignificant you are. The voice echoed out again, causing the air to tremble, and the surrounding students could hear it clearly. Apparently, it was a powerful sound wave energy art. Rumbling sounds echoed out as the enormous hand in midair transformed. Countless streams of true energy surged out, transforming into an enormous painting. The painting depicted mountains and rivers, each of which surged with black water, filled with countless vengeful souls. Vaguely, the roars of devil ghosts could be heard echoing out. The painting emanated a boundless, mysterious, bizarre, and tyrannical aura that seemed capable of crushing any demon, devil, or ghost into pieces. My God! That's a high-grade royal-class energy art, the Netherworld Narcissus Immortal painting. One of the elite students shrieked as he recognized the true nature of the energy art. What? A high-grade royal-class energy art? Are you kidding me? That's an astronomical number of merit points. Paupers like us can't possibly afford it. Although there is only a difference of 1 level between the king level medium grade and the high grade, the difference in power is like the difference between heaven and earth. It's said that the Netherworld Narcissus Immortal diagram is even more terrifying. Once mastered, one will be able to control all kinds of water, and possess all kinds of water-type special abilities. Once used, one can instantly suppress countless demons. I can't believe he cultivates a high-grade royal-class energy art. No wonder he's so arrogant. It seems Xiaoping really kicked an iron plate. I can't believe he provoked someone so important. Generally speaking, these kinds of people have a high chance of ranking among the top geniuses in the tournament. Right now they are all in closed-door training and won't come out easily. But now that he has appeared, I reckon that this Xiaoping has already caused the heavens to be enraged and the people to resent him. Some of the monsters can't stand it anymore and want to teach him a lesson. Many of the elite students' eyes went wide. For some of them this was their first time seeing a high-grade royal-class energy art, and it left them shaken to the core. In fact, as soon as he made a move, he unleashed all sorts of energy art manifestations that were terrifying to the extreme. Netherworld Narcissus painting? A high-grade royal-class energy art? Interesting. Just wait until I break that so-called energy art of yours. Then let's see what else you can do. Xiaoping simply stood in place, unmoving. His hands formed a circle, and he drew upon his true energy to unleash a fist strike that caused the air to shatter. It was as if he were a Buddha, and then he slammed it into the painting. Gradually, the sound of Buddhist chants could be heard, along with strange phenomena. This fist strike contained the power of a Vajra that could exterminate demons and devils, and was unstoppable and ferocious in nature. Not bad. Not bad at all. The owner of the voice seemed surprised by the power of the fist strike. I can't believe you've cultivated your fist technique to this level. I bet not even an elite student of the 7th level of martial arts would be a match for you. No wonder you beat Qingdong like a dead dog. But if you think you can stand up to my Netherworld Narcissus painting with that level of power, you're still far from strong enough. As soon as the words left his mouth, the painting trembled. In the blink of an eye, the painting seemed to come to life. The mountains and rivers inside seemed to come to life, and huge streams of water fell from the sky, turning into a waterfall. These streams of water weighed tens of tons, even hundreds of tons, and when they hit the ground they created a huge crater. In the dark, a mysterious power circulated, and the water actually turned into a cage. In an instant, Xiaoping was trapped in an area with a diameter of 3 meters, forming a prison. Bang! Xiaoping punched out, and the air exploded as he smashed into the streams of water. The power of this punch was enough to tear steel to shreds, and even titanium alloy could be kneaded into any shape. But when the power of this punch hit the streams of water, it was completely absorbed and could not break through. The streams of water were so fast that they cut through the air like water blades. The slightest touch would cause skin to be torn. They surrounded Xiaoping like a prison, making it impossible for him to escape. Suppress. An angry roar sounded, like the roar of a water god, shaking the eardrums of the surrounding elite students. Even their souls seemed to be trembling, and they wanted nothing more than to prostrate themselves in worship. The painting in the sky came crashing down, covering Xiaoping, completely suppressing him and imprisoning him in the Netherworld Narcissus prison. Strong, too strong. This is the high-grade king-class Netherworld Narcissus painting. Even that lawless, uncontrollable and arrogant Xiaoping is suppressed. There's no way he can escape. Heavens, this is a true elite student. He's already cultivated his Qigong to the acme of perfection. I bet this senior is about to touch the Grandmaster realm. The surrounding elite students were all dumbfounded. When an expert made a move, it was obvious whether or not he was a real expert. Feeling the vast power of the Qigong, they all felt that they were very small. If that mysterious senior were to make a move, he would be able to defeat all of them effortlessly. Xiaoping, don't worry. You are still an elite student of Yanhuang University, so I won't kill you. But I will trap you here for a day and a night so you can reflect on your mistakes. The voice sounded again, thinking that it was in control of the situation, and its tone was incomparably arrogant. If you still don't know your mistakes and don't apologize, I will continue to trap you here until you do. The elite students in the surroundings immediately knew that this senior wanted to humiliate Xiaoping. Moreover, he wanted to humiliate him in public. For a proud and arrogant genius, he actually had to apologize in front of so many people. What kind of humiliation was this? His invincible martial arts state of mind would be broken, and even stepping into the Grandmaster realm would be hindered. This senior's intentions were extremely sinister. But as soon as the senior finished speaking, Xiaoping's voice came from the Netherworld Narcissus prison. You want to trap me for a day and a night and you want me to apologize? Why don't you go eat shit? Chapter 560. Originally, Xiaoping would not have been able to break through the Netherworld water prison with his current True Yuan. His opponent's Qigong was too strong. He was at least at the 8th layer of Martial Master and cultivated a high-grade King Qigong. His True Yuan was much stronger than the other elite students. However, Xiaoping still had a treasure. He took out the Hell Spear and poured all his True Yuan into it, completely activating the treasure's mysterious power. Rumble, immediately the power in his body received feedback from the Hell Spear. His aura became more than 10 times stronger and even activated the Hell Spear's energy. He stabbed out with the spear. Bang! At that moment, the Hell Spear exploded with the power to pierce through everything. The Netherworld water prison could not withstand this invincible power from Hell and was instantly smashed into pieces, creating a big hole. Even the entire Netherworld water prison completely collapsed under this power. Countless streams of water were blasted into dozens of pieces. The Netherworld Narcissus immortal diagram in the sky was pierced through by the spear. Could not resist. Then Xiaoping put the Hell Spear back into his spatial ring and calmly walked out. His 108,000 pores exploded with a terrifying force. With his body as the center, a terrifying vortex of air was formed. He was like a ghost god. The ground was shaken and densely packed cracks appeared like spider webs. Oh no, hide. The elite students who were watching the show did not expect this. They thought that the mysterious senior had victory in his grasp and that no matter how powerful Xiaoping was, he would not be able to overturn the situation. However, they did not expect that as soon as the mysterious senior finished speaking, Xiaoping would go crazy. He tore the Netherworld water prison apart and easily walked out. Because of this power, the air currents were shattered. The force spread out in all directions, creating extremely tyrannical air currents that shot out in all directions. Some of the elite students were caught off guard and were immediately struck by this scattered force. Their entire bodies were sent flying, smashing fiercely into the nearby walls, creating a huge crater. They let out miserable screams and could not help but spit out a large mouthful of blood. Their lungs were severely injured. How is this possible? How can you break my Netherworld Narcissus immortal diagram with your strength? Puff. As the attack had shattered the Netherworld Narcissus immortal pattern, the mysterious senior had suffered a backlash and vomited a mouthful of blood. With a whoosh, a figure flew out of the training tower in exasperation. This person was wearing blue clothes and was 1.8 meters tall. His eyes were a deep blue and he had a strong physique. His body emitted a mysterious and cold aura, causing people to shiver. The moment he flew out of the training tower and walked on the ground, even the ground was frozen. An extremely cold aura pervaded the air, causing people to shiver involuntarily. At this moment, a trace of blood seeped out from the corner of his mouth. His face was gloomy and his heart was filled with extreme anger. Isn't this Senior Lu Boming? Some elite students immediately recognized the true identity of this blue-robed man. No wonder he cultivates a royal-class energy art, the Netherworld Narcissus immortal painting. So it's Senior Lu. Senior Lu used to be an extremely tyrannical genius in Yanhuang University. After becoming an elite student, his cultivation increased by leaps and bounds. He has already reached the 8th heaven of the Martial Master realm, and it is said that he is not far from the 9th heaven of the Martial Master realm. Before this, he was in seclusion, hoping to break through to the 9th heaven of the Martial Master realm before the Battle of Geniuses. That way he would be able to compete with the other geniuses. I didn't expect him to come out of seclusion now. Many elite students recognized the blue-robed man's identity. Good, very good, very good. Lu Boming's face was gloomy as he stared at Xiaoping. You are only a 5th heaven of the Martial Master realm, yet you can break my Netherworld Narcissus immortal painting and escape from the Netherworld Aqua prison. What skill! But don't be arrogant. Just now, I only used half of my strength. Once I use all of my strength, you will have nowhere to run. You will be like an ant, understand? His body was filled with killing intent. Keep bragging. Xiaoping said disdainfully, so what if I use all of my strength? Come at me if you have the guts. I can beat you like a dog in 3 moves. If I miss a move, I lose. His expression was very calm. Even though there was a difference of 3 realms in cultivation, if he used the Hell Spear, he would not be afraid of his opponent. This kid thinks he can scare me with just these words? What a joke. Amazing. The other elite students were full of admiration. Facing an expert like Lu Boming, he actually dared to provoke him like this, saying that he could defeat his opponent in 2 or 3 moves. How arrogant. They did not dare to imagine what would happen if they really angered Lu Boming. You are too arrogant. Lu Boming was instantly enraged. Ever since he became an elite student, he had always been invincible. In just a few years he had advanced to the 8th heaven of the martial master realm. His battle strength was tyrannical. When he came out to travel in the pugilistic world, who didn't flatter him? No one dared to be disrespectful to him. But now this kid was actually so arrogant, saying that he could defeat him in 2 or 3 moves. If he could endure this, he would not be Lu Boming. Then let me see how you are going to defeat me in 2 or 3 moves. Lu Boming roared, his hair standing on end. A terrifying aura erupted from his body, causing the air to distort. The surrounding people were all shocked. A huge picture scroll appeared above Lu Boming's head. This picture scroll was more than 10 times clearer than before. The water element aura of heaven and earth rushed over crazily. With every breath, the water vapor entered Lu Boming's body through his pores. It was as if his body had become the source of all water, able to contain the power of hundreds of rivers. In the picture scroll above his head, every river was condensed from true essence. They were incomparably thick. Countless evil spirits seemed to be suppressed in this black river, containing a mysterious and strange power. The moment this picture scroll appeared, the surrounding temperature dropped by dozens of degrees. It was as if there were hundreds of air conditioners here. The surrounding people felt incomparably cold, constantly shivering. Enough, a dignified elite student is actually fighting in school. What a scandal. Suddenly, a white-bearded old man appeared in the distance. He was dressed in white. He descended from the sky and lightly pointed out with a finger. In an instant, Lu Boming was suppressed, and the netherworld painting was completely broken. With a thud, he descended, his aura suppressing the world. He stood between Xia Ping and Lu Boming, stopping the fight. Chapter 561. Elder Huang. Greetings, Elder Huang. The elite students were shocked to see the old man appear. They lowered their heads and bowed. This was because Elder Huang was the manager of this training tower. His strength was unfathomable and he had already reached the king realm. Who would dare to be presumptuous in front of such a big shot? Xia Ping also felt the abyss-like aura emanating from this elder. Compared to this old man, the city lord of West Wilderness City and the other grandmasters were not even worth mentioning. Even though he was much stronger now, if this old man wanted to kill him, it would only take a flick of his finger. Elder Huang. Seeing this old man appear, the arrogant Lu Boming immediately became respectful. He did not dare to have any disrespectful attitude towards this Elder Huang. Boming, you've gone too far by wantonly attacking someone in the school. Elder Huang looked at Lu Boming indifferently. Seeing this, Xia Ping shouted, "That's right, Elder, you didn't see how fierce this guy was just now. He simply wanted to beat me to death. He's no different from a vicious criminal. He doesn't care about the school rules as if he's the principal. If I didn't have some skills, I would have been beaten to death by him. This is clearly murder. I suggest that the school immediately arrest him and punish him severely. It would be best to expel him from Yanhuang University as a warning to others. Otherwise, the dignity of Yanhuang University's school rules will be gone." He fanned the flames at the side. What? The elite students at the side were dumbfounded. This kid was extremely vicious. It was obvious that he wanted to kick Lu Boming to death while the elder was here. If Elder Huang really listened to this villain's slander and expelled Lu Boming from Yanhuang University, Lu Boming's future would probably be ruined, and his martial arts state would be greatly affected. Moreover, without the countless resources of Yanhuang University, it would be at least 100 times more difficult for Lu Boming to advance to the king realm. This was basically trying to kill Lu Boming. Elder Huang. Lu Boming immediately became anxious. He looked at Xia Ping with eyes that were spewing fire. If his eyes could kill, he would have already cut Xia Ping into 1,000 pieces. What was a despicable person? He had seen it for himself. It was obvious that Xia Ping was a true despicable person. He was simply all-pervasive, taking advantage of every opportunity to accuse the guilty. His heart was vicious to the extreme. Elder Huang, something, don't try to claim kinship here. Xia Ping shouted, Elder Huang is a selfless person. He will definitely judge fairly and strictly. Don't think that you can affect the elder's judgment with just a few words. So what if you have power and influence? Do you think you can override the rules of Yanhuang University? If I don't punish you harshly now to serve as a warning to others in the future, if someone violates the Academy's rules again, won't they bend the law for personal gain? In the long run, who would still follow the school rules? He put a big hat on Lu Boming, as if the entire Yanhuang University would fall apart if he didn't punish Lu Boming harshly and expel him from Yanhuang University. The corners of the elite students' mouths twitched. This fellow's mouth was simply vicious to the extreme. He could even turn a piece of white paper into black words. Lu Boming must have had 8 lifetimes of bad luck to have provoked this bastard. Lu Boming's face turned green. He wished he could sew Xiaoping's mouth shut. You're not convinced? I knew you wanted to resist stubbornly. Fortunately, there are witnesses everywhere. Any one of them can testify to your evil deeds. You can't escape at all. Xiaoping said disdainfully, even if someone is too scared to come out to testify because of your power, there are cameras everywhere. They've already recorded your actions just now. Witnesses and material evidence are all here. Do you think you can escape? His face was full of righteousness as if he had sentenced Lu Boming to death. His crime was unforgivable. Bastard, I'm going to kill you. Lu Boming was completely mad. He was so angry that smoke was coming out of his head. The qigong in his body boiled and he wanted to kill Xiaoping. Enough. At this moment, Elder Huang finally spoke. He glanced at the surrounding elite students. Today's matter ends here. No more private fights are allowed. If anyone commits another offense, they will be expelled from Yanhuang University immediately. His tone was very calm, but it contained an unquestionable tone. Yes, Elder. The surrounding elite students nodded. Since Elder Huang said this matter was temporarily put aside. No one would pursue it. This was also a great fortune in misfortune. Lu Boming also heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Elder Huang was perceptive and did not listen to this kid's vicious slander. Otherwise, if he was expelled from Yanhuang University, it would be even more unjust than Dou-yi. Thinking of this, he glared at Xiaoping fiercely, his face dark. Kid, just you wait. Today is Yanhuang University. I can't do anything to you. But the genius battle is coming soon. At that time there won't be anything like school rules and life and death won't matter. I hope you won't be so scared that you'll retreat. He threw down these harsh words and turned to leave. Elder Huang looked at him. He actually dared to open his mouth and threaten me. He clearly hasn't given up. If I don't punish him severely, he won't know what's good for him. Xiaoping shouted loudly. I don't know how Yanhuang University recruits students. They actually let such a vicious person in. I don't know how much the school's moral standards have been lowered. Hearing this, Elder Huang was speechless. The corner of his mouth twitched. He had long heard that Xiaoping was a troublemaker who liked to cause trouble everywhere. He liked to be the first to complain. He was extremely thick-skinned. Seeing him today, he indeed lived up to his reputation. The elite students at the side all grimaced. Looking at this extremely thick-skinned Xiaoping, they could not compare to this bastard in terms of moral standards. With your moral standards, you have the nerve to say such things. Do you have any shame? Bastard. Lu Boming staggered. His face was as black as charcoal. He clenched his fists tightly, resisting the urge to kill Xiaoping. He knew that with Elder Huang here, it was impossible to kill Xiaoping. Therefore, he suppressed the anger in his heart and left without looking back. All right, don't stand here and watch. All of you leave. Elder Huang said in a low voice, dispersing the elite students. Yes, Elder. Seeing that there was no good show to watch, the group of elite students left one after another. As for those who were injured, they supported each other and headed to the nearby hospital for treatment. They could be considered the unluckiest ones. They were clearly beaten up by Xiaoping, but they did not receive any compensation. Moreover, that bastard Xiaoping was still alive and kicking. Chapter 562. The conflict between Xiaoping and the elite students, as well as his fight with Lu Boming, quickly blew up the forum of Yanhuang University and was known by countless students. Even the fact that Xiaoping had cheated the elite students of a large sum of money and earned more than 10 million points was dug out. It immediately caused an uproar among countless students and everyone was jealous. Oh my god, this kind of method is simply like turning one's hand to summon clouds and turning one's hand to summon rain. To think that he could even think of this. Just how dark is his heart? A student shouted. This kind of technique was too exquisite and the layout was too deep. If he was at the scene, he wouldn't know what had happened. He would probably have been sold by Xiaoping and still foolishly helped him count the money. That bastard has entered the wrong profession. If he didn't become a warrior but a businessman, he would have been the richest man in the world. Someone sighed. This kind of method of hype was applicable everywhere. In just a few weeks, he had turned more than 2 million points into more than 10 million points. This was simply the magic of money. This was not something that anyone could do. Most people could only put their money in the bank and earn a negligible interest. They couldn't use their money to make money at all. Richest my ass. It's clearly a scam. If he really becomes a businessman, who knows how many people's hard-earned money will be exploited and many people will work for him for free. Someone gritted his teeth. This was because he was the one who had been cheated by Xiaoping. Because of this hype, he was greedy and took over at a high price. In the end, he was hit hard by the school and lost more than 90% of his wealth. One could imagine how much he hated Xiaoping now. He even had the heart to eat Xiaoping's flesh and blood. If it wasn't for this kid, he would still be an honest person who earned points steadily. He wouldn't have touched this kind of devilish business. In the end, he fell and suffered heavy losses. Years of savings had vanished into thin air in a single day. That's right, this kid is extremely black-hearted. Everyone has to be wary of this bastard's every move. Don't be fooled by him. We are a lesson from the mistakes of our predecessors. This time, we lost hundreds of thousands of points and all of them went down the drain without a sound. In short, I'll remember this bastard this time. I've lost so many points. I'll just treat it as feeding the dogs. If he can cheat me of another cent, I'll go eat shit. A group of elite students cried tears of blood, bitterly complaining about Xiaoping, this black-hearted businessman. At the same time, they used their own personal experiences to warn everyone not to be tricked by Xiaoping again. This was a good example. If it wasn't for the fact that this was Yanhuang University, where private fights were not allowed, they would have come to cause trouble and beat Xiaoping up. Damn it, he even earned more than 10 million points. Why doesn't he go to heaven? We work hard to complete missions from 9 to 5, diligently, but we can only earn 40 to 50,000 points every year. If we want to earn more than 10 million points, it will take us 200 years. This is too unfair. We have to earn 200 years worth of money, but he earned it in a few weeks. How can he earn it so easily? Is it reasonable? A dog's meat stinks in a luxurious house, but there are frozen bones on the road. You can imagine how evil these rich people are. Looks like it's time for a revolution. We'll beat up the local tyrants and divide the land. Just wait, this bastard will get into trouble sooner or later. I'll wait for him to be punished by the federal law. Many of the students felt the same way and all of them felt that it was unfair. Why was this kid able to earn more than 10 million points so easily, while they could only do hard labor and struggle on the poverty line every day, unable to make ends meet? Some people had dark hearts and cursed Xiaoping to suffer sooner or later, to be arrested by the police and put in prison for decades. Hearing these words, Feng Hatong and the others also jumped out and shouted, "A group of stray dogs are barking here for what? You can't make money yourself, but you have to blame others for having the ability to make money?" That's right. My big brother makes money here clearly. He cheats neither the old nor the young. There's nothing illegal about it. What's wrong with making money within the legal scope? If you're not convinced, you can also make money and see if you can succeed. You can brag on the internet, but if you really do it, you're nothing. This is Jiang Taigong fishing. Those who are willing will take the bait. If you don't want to, who will force you? That's right. You're stupid, but you still have to blame others for being too smart. Do you think that's appropriate? You're too greedy. If you weren't greedy, you wouldn't have ended up like this. You should reflect on yourselves. The people from Pingtian sect also came out to clamor, mocking this group of people. What? Hearing these words, those students were so angry that their faces turned green. They had already lost so much money and were in a bad mood, but they didn't expect to be mocked by others, saying that they were too greedy and too stupid. If that wasn't the case, they wouldn't have been fooled at all. The most annoying thing was that it actually sounded very reasonable and they couldn't refute it. What's wrong? You can't refute it, right? You want to fight with my big brother with that little bit of intelligence? You don't know what's good for you. In the future, if you follow my big brother, you'll have meat to eat. Otherwise, you can only eat shit. Feng Hatong was proud of himself. The group of elite students were so angry that their lungs were about to explode. If it wasn't for the screen, they would definitely ask someone to beat this damn fatty to death. They had never seen such an infuriating bastard. Damn it, this Pingtian sect is simply a tumor of Yanhuang University. They're a nest of snakes and rats. They're practically a nest of snakes and rats. Ever since Pingtian sect appeared in the school, it's simply a foul atmosphere. Isn't that so? These people like to group up and bully others with numbers. They're simply shameless to the extreme. Previously, a group of us went to the Silver Flower Valley in the north to kill wild beasts and obtain points. We didn't expect to encounter people from Pingtian's sect, and in the end, we were beaten up by them and chased away. They said they wanted to reserve the entire place. Reserve their grandpa. That's the Silver Flower Valley, a public resource. Others who don't know might think it's the Pingtian sect's property. They can even reserve the entire place. I heard they even want to collect protection fees. If we want to live in the school peacefully in the future, we must give them points. They want to collect protection fees? Why can't they just go to heaven? Isn't this a gang? Just wait and see. The school will ban this illegal organization sooner or later. The group of students gritted their teeth, all complaining about the evil Pingtian sect. Some of them had been persecuted by the Pingtian sect and suffered heavy losses. However, the Pingtian sect had the advantage in numbers and they were no match for them at all. They could only swallow their anger. At this time, Xiaoping was completely unaware of the storm outside. He had already entered the training tower's gravity room, sat down cross-legged and began to cultivate. This was the most crucial moment. There were many water moon grass and energy stones placed around him. They had all been refined by Xiaoping, and the air was filled with dense, pure energy. Chapter 563. Rumble. Under the tenfold gravity, Xiaoping could feel that the speed at which he circulated his true energy was 10 times slower than usual. Even his lungs and other parts of his body were under immense pressure. As of this moment he could sense every inch of muscle, every bone, and every meridian in his body being damaged by his energy arts. It was almost as if he had been struck in the chest by a powerful expert, and was suffering grievous injuries. But the gravity chamber was filled with pure yang medicinal qi. Through his pores, it seeped into every corner of his body, constantly repairing and reforming his damaged body parts, causing his body to become even stronger. Damaged, repaired, damaged, repaired. After repeating this process, Xiaoping could feel that his body had been greatly tempered, and his strength had also increased greatly. And because of this, his body's potential was also greatly developed, unearthing the energy in the depths of his body. This is the time. After an unknown period of time, Xiaoping absorbed the energy stones, the water moon grass, the pure yang medicinal qi and other energies, fusing them into his body. After being refined by the sun furnace, they were rapidly converted into true energy in his body. When the amount of true energy reached the limit, he felt his meridians and dantian swelling up. It was as if the mountains and rivers could no longer contain so much water, and a new river had to be opened up. Boom. At this moment, when he reached the peak, Xiaoping circulated the pure yang immortal art. Large amounts of true energy instantly gushed out from the depths of his dantian, like lava splashing out. His 108,000 pores all emitted strands of flames, and the illusory image of a golden crow of hell seemed to condense behind him. It was currently spreading its wings and roaring towards the sky. When these flames landed on the ground, they immediately burned out many holes, giving off sizzling sounds as if the ground was being burned into lava. The temperature of the gravity chamber also rose rapidly, and large amounts of white mist filled the air. People outside saw this, they would think that Xiaoping was in a sauna. Boom. When Xiaoping's essence, qi and spirit reached the peak, he circulated his qigong and broke through the 61st meridian. It was like a flood, instantly breaking through his meridians. Large amounts of true energy flowed around his meridians. The true energy in each meridian was like a flood dragon, rumbling and flowing, containing explosive power. Every inch of his muscles swelled up at this moment. 6th layer martial master. Xiaoping knew that he had now truly broken through to the 6th heavenly layer of martial master. 61 meridians in his body had opened up, forming 5 quintessential essence circulations that resonated with each other. This was the peak of the intermediate martial master realm. It could be said that he was just one step away from breaking through to the advanced martial master realm. I finally advanced to the 6th heaven of martial master. Xiaoping clenched his fists. He felt that his quintessential essence had become much stronger. It was not something that a martial master at the 5th layer could compare to. Every move he made contained terrifying power. As his Zhen Yuan increased, 2 or 3 hell golden crow cells also awakened. They were quickly refined by his Zhen Yuan and thoroughly integrated into every corner of his body, seeping into every cell. At this moment, his skin seemed to have turned into a light golden color, as if it was covered in a layer of gold. There seemed to be a picture of a golden crow of hell faintly appearing on his back. It was extremely mysterious. This was not just a vision. In fact, the defensive power of his body had also been greatly improved. Even if he did not run the Northern Dark Body Protection technique, with the defensive power of his skin, ordinary swords cutting on his body were like hitting steel, clanging sounds, bursting out sparks, and could not hurt him at all. This feeling? Xia Ping ran the pure yang immortal incantation. His qigong slowly ran. The hell golden crow cells in his body vibrated. Wisps of flames wandered around his body and finally appeared in one of his eyes. Suddenly, he felt that his left eye seemed to be burning with a trace of pain, as if it was about to be completely melted by this ball of flame. But soon this pain disappeared. Replacing it was an incomparably cool feeling, as if this ball of flame had integrated into the depths of his pupil and become one. At this moment, Xia Ping rubbed his eyes. He suddenly found that his left eye had undergone a huge change. It was as if there was a rune spinning in the depths of his pupil. Once he concentrated, his left eye seemed to shoot out a transparent light. At this moment, the dust on the ground actually became huge, as if it was an ordinary stone. Looking into the distance of a few hundred meters had become as short as 2 or 3 meters. At this moment, the smooth wall seemed to have become uneven in the eyes of his left eye. He found that there were many particles on the wall. When Xia Ping penetrated the qigong in his body and activated a mysterious power, he found that he could penetrate the wall and see the appearance of another gravity room. Ah! But soon Xia Ping cried out. He found that his left eye was being burned by the flame, causing intense pain. He fell to the ground in an instant, and this phenomenon quickly disappeared. He also fell to the ground, gasping for breath. He had used up a lot of energy. At this moment, all the muscles in his body seemed to be twitching. But Xia Ping was extremely excited. "System, what is this thing?" Xia Ping immediately asked. The system said, "Congratulations, host." As the Golden Crow of Hell's bloodline slowly fuses, the various abilities of the Golden Crow of Hell will also appear on the host. This should be the Golden Crow of Hell's eye. Now the left eye has begun to awaken. Golden Crow of Hell's eye. Hearing this, Xia Ping was extremely excited. He clenched his fists, feeling the terrifying power contained in his body. He was slowly beginning to feel the terror of the Golden Crow of Hell's bloodline. The Golden Crow of Hell's eye seemed to be extremely terrifying. Although it had not completely awakened, only a portion of its abilities had appeared. It seemed to have long-range vision, X-ray vision, and other abilities. His dynamic vision was at least 10 times stronger than before. This was simply an extraordinary physique. Before, he had also fought against Nie Zhen, who had the three-eyed wolf's bloodline. Once Nie Zhen opened his third eye, his strength increased by several times, and he had the power to predict the enemy's moves. If it was completely awakened, his Golden Crow of Hell's eye would definitely not be inferior to this third eye, and might even be more terrifying. Host must be warned, because the Golden Crow of Hell's bloodline is too terrifying. If the host uses this ability too much, the host's body will not be able to bear it, and his body and soul will completely collapse, the system warned. Xia Ping clenched his fists. He also knew this. Just now, when he tried to use the immature left eye, it caused the energy in his body to increase, and he almost fainted on the ground. It seemed like the only way was to continue awakening the Golden Crow of Hell's cells and completely condense the left eye. Only then would he be able to use this ability at will. Chapter 564. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 5 million hatred points. At this time the system's voice sounded. Xia Ping stroked his chin. To be able to obtain 5 million hatred points, it seemed that his actions this time had angered many elite students, but he didn't care much. Anyway, this group of people didn't have a good relationship with him. Beep beep. At this time, Xia Ping's communicator rang. It was Liang Quan, the director of the giant company. Seeing this call, he immediately knew that the matter of him asking the giant company to dispose of the stolen goods had been completed. It had taken more than a month until now. As soon as he picked up, he heard Liang Quan's words. "Xia Ping, the things you asked us to sell have been completely sold. We obtained a total of 570 billion federal coins. I'll transfer it to you later." 570 billion federal coins. Hearing this, Xia Ping clenched his fists, feeling extremely excited. This was simply an astronomical figure. Ordinary people didn't know how long it would take to earn this amount of money. No, even if it was a king family, it wouldn't be easy for them to earn more than 500 billion federal coins. But now that he had obtained it all at once, it was like getting rich overnight. Of course, the risk was also great. If it wasn't for the many secret treasures on him that allowed him to enter and exit the Monster King's territory at will, it would have been impossible for him to succeed. Once his whereabouts were revealed, he would probably die. But the result was still good. He obtained a large number of treasures from the Silver Flood Dragon King and also a large amount of money. The greater the risk, the greater the reward. This proved this point. TSK, I really didn't expect that. Where did you get so many resources? Liang Quan, the director, praised. You earned more than 100 billion federal coins before, and now it's even more terrifying. You earn more than 500 billion federal coins. And the things I got are all in short supply. I don't have to worry about selling them at all. He admired Xia Ping from the bottom of his heart. He had no idea where Xia Ping had gotten so many resources from. This is a secret. Xia Ping smiled slightly and didn't explain at all. Could it be that all these things were obtained from the Silver Flood Dragon King? Once it was leaked out, it would probably cause a huge commotion. Liang Quan didn't mind. If it was him, he wouldn't casually reveal this secret if he could earn a huge sum of money. Also, Xia Ping was a member of the giant company and was a genius that had gained the attention of the higher-ups. There was basically no way to force him. Since Xia Ping didn't want to talk about it, he didn't want to delve into it. He said, "What do you plan to do with the money?" He was curious. "I don't have any plans for now." Xia Ping couldn't think of what he wanted to do with the money, but it didn't matter. The money was here and there would always be a time when he needed it. Even if he didn't need it now, he would definitely be able to use it once his cultivation was higher and he advanced into the Grandmaster realm or even the King realm. If you have more money, maybe you can try to buy a super battleship, Liang Quan suggested. Super warship. Hearing this, Xia Ping blinked his eyes. Yes, a super battleship. Liang Quan said in a deep voice, a spaceship of this level is many times stronger than ordinary spaceships. Most importantly, its technology has transcended generations, and it has the ability to jump through space. Jump through space. Hearing this, Xia Ping was surprised. He had also heard that the military's battleships had a similar function. They could ignore space distance and appear in other places at will. But that was the military's top secret, and it couldn't be used by civilians. Yes, a super battleship is so powerful. As long as it has enough energy, it can jump to almost any place in the sky realm. Liang Quan said, once you have such a battleship, it only takes a few seconds to cross tens of thousands of kilometers, and it is many times faster than ordinary private spaceships. More than that. Xia Ping clenched his fists. With the function of jumping through space, such a speed was faster than the speed of light. It could ignore space, distance, and weather. It was simply the crystallization of technology. Moreover, a super battleship's weapons are also extremely powerful. They are dozens or even hundreds of times stronger than ordinary spaceships, Liang Quan said expectantly. If it is fully activated, it can even kill a king. But there is no doubt that the price is also extremely high. A super battleship like this costs at least 5 trillion federal coins, and the materials consumed are simply astronomical. And if you want to buy it, you must advance into the Grandmaster realm. Otherwise you won't be qualified. 5 trillion federal coins. The corner of Xia Ping's mouth twitched. Such a number was simply beyond his imagination. The inflation had reached an exaggerated level. It could be said that even an ordinary king family could only afford one if they spent all their fortune. The problem was, which king family would be so stupid as to spend all their fortune just to buy such a super battleship? Most likely, only a few super forces and extremely powerful kings would have the right to purchase them. It was no longer as simple as a luxury toy. But it's not impossible. Xia Ping touched his chin. If I want to earn 5 trillion federal coins, I just need to rob 10 rich demon kings and plunder all their wealth. A dangerous light flashed in his eyes as he thought of all kinds of plans. Xia Ping, don't tell me you really want to buy one? I was just joking. Seeing Xia Ping in deep thought, Liang Quan was a little confused. This kid couldn't have taken his words seriously, right? To be honest, although Xia Ping made a lot of money, it was simply impossible for him to earn 5 trillion. This number was already equivalent to a year's financial budget of several cities. Even the richest man in the world would have to spend all his fortune to take out this amount of money. Xia Ping was now a martial master. Generally speaking, if a warrior of this level wanted to earn 5 trillion, even if he didn't eat, drink, cultivate, or have a girlfriend, it would still take him thousands of years. Who knows? Maybe I'll buy it if I have it. Xia Ping smiled and said ambiguously. Liang Quan was completely convinced. This kid was really tempted to buy it? But this guy was clearly an ordinary person with no family background. Why was he richer than the second generation of the King families? This was too unreasonable. All right, I won't say anything more. Liang Quan looked at Xia Ping and said, in 2 or 3 weeks, it will be the battle of geniuses. How are your preparations? I don't know. I'll do my best. Xia Ping clenched his fists and was very confident. Liang Quan smiled. You seem very confident. But this is for the best. If you get a good result in the battle of geniuses, I believe the higher-ups of the company will also have a high evaluation of you. When the time comes, you will probably get a lot of benefits. I look forward to your performance. After saying this, he hung up the phone. Xia Ping also sat cross-legged on the ground and continued to cultivate, consolidating his cultivation and familiarizing himself with his increased strength, speed, and the infernal golden crow's eye that he had just obtained. While Xia Ping was cultivating, time flew by and in a flash, 3 weeks had passed. Chapter 565. Beep beep. While Xia Ping was cultivating in seclusion in his villa, his communication device suddenly rang. A virtual screen immediately popped up. The genius battle is about to begin. Elite students, please gather at the Training Towers Plaza. Whoosh. Xia Ping's eyes lit up when he saw this. He couldn't help but clench his fists. After waiting for so long, the genius battle was finally about to begin. After a few weeks of cultivation, he had not only completely consolidated his cultivation of the 6th heaven of martial master, but he had also refined the water moon grass, energy stones, and other treasures. He had broken through 5 or 6 meridians, greatly increasing the true essence in his body. If he was given a little more time, it would be easy for him to break through to the 7th heaven of martial master. Once he stepped into the advanced martial master realm, he wouldn't be far from being invincible in the martial master realm. It wouldn't be impossible for him to come out on top in the genius battle. He had even awakened a few golden crow cells in his body, greatly fusing with the golden crow bloodline. His left eye had also undergone earth-shaking changes. If he could go one step further, his left eye would be completely formed. If he had the golden crow eye of hell, his strength would definitely increase by several times. Soon, Xia Ping tidied up his clothes and left the villa for the plaza in front of the training tower. At this time, countless elite students came from all directions. They almost filled the plaza. There seemed to be at least 20 or 30,000 people. All of them were martial masters. So powerful. Xia Ping could feel the aura of these elite students. They were all extraordinary and had experienced hundreds of battles. Some of them usually trained outside and fought with monsters. Some of them hid in some cave abode and cultivated peacefully. Some of them usually kept a low profile and never liked to show their faces. At this time, because of the genius battle, they all came out. These were the real elites among the elite students. There were even a lot of experts at the peak of the 9th heaven of martial master realm. They stood out among this group of students and were considered to be strong candidates for the champion of this genius battle. However, Xia Ping's appearance here immediately attracted the attention of many elite students, because he had already become famous in the entire Yanhuang University. He was in the limelight and everyone knew about him. This kid is Xia Ping? He looks ordinary, but I didn't expect him to accomplish so many things. You stirred up trouble as soon as you entered Yanhuang University. You trampled on the 100 great societies, killed the Windchaser bandits, annihilated the lawless gang, and slaughtered the Black Scorpion King's son, Scorpion 13. Recently, you've even swindled quite a few elite students of their money. It is said that even Liu Boming was defeated by him and suffered a loss. Some people say that he was so angry that he went crazy and swore to get revenge. Tisk Tsk, what an incredible junior. Could it be that he also wants to be the champion in this genius battle? How is this possible? It is said that he is only a 5th heaven martial master. Even if he is a demonic genius, he will not be able to stand out in the genius battle where experts are as numerous as the clouds. If he meets an expert at the peak of the martial master realm, he will immediately lose. Indeed, his future lies in the years to come. Right now he's still too far away. To be honest, he's only here to gain experience. I'm really looking forward to it. I wonder what kind of trouble this monster will cause in a few years. By that time we'll have already graduated. Let other people worry about it. Many elite students looked at Xia Ping. They had also heard of this troublemaker, but they didn't think that Xia Ping would be able to cause any more trouble in the genius battle. Indeed, this kid caused a lot of trouble. However, the genius battle was a competition of martial strength. Without sufficient strength, even if he had some tricks, he would not be able to show off. Right now, Xia Ping was still too inexperienced. Compared to the geniuses who had been cultivating for many years, he was still too far away. It seems that many people are looking down on me. That's good, the more people that look down on me the better. That way it will be easier for me to shock the world. Xia Ping clenched his fists and said nothing. He was looking forward to the start of the genius battle. Boom. At this moment, a huge battleship flew in the sky. It covered the sky and arrived above the square. Its ferocious cannons were exposed. One shot from this cannon was powerful enough to destroy a mountain. With a swoosh, a gray-robed elder immediately flew out from the battleship. He floated in the air and looked down like a god. With his body as the center, he emitted a horrifying aura that enveloped the entire square. All the students present were shocked. They felt as if a mountain had descended on their bodies. It was even more horrifying than when they were in the 10x gravity room. The pressure made their bones crackle, and even the circulation of their true yuan seemed to be stagnant. The ground was unable to withstand the pressure, and crackling sounds could be heard as cracks appeared on the ground. King. This was definitely an invincible king. Xia Ping stared at the gray-robed elder. He could feel that this gray-robed elder's horrifying strength was definitely beyond anyone he had ever seen. Even among the king level, he was probably one of the strongest. Vice Headmaster Lu Shuwen. This is an invincible king. Some elite students immediately recognized him. It can't be. It's such an honor to see Headmaster Lu here. It's said that he's been alive since the Great Calamity, with a lifespan of over 1,000 years. He's experienced countless battles of life and death between the human race and the demon race, killing who knows how many kings. He's a true old monster, and even the president of the Federation is respectful towards him. During the college entrance exam, Headmaster Lu's question appeared in the history question. I remember memorizing it for a long time. We are so lucky. Normally, such a powerful warrior would be in seclusion. I didn't expect that even Headmaster Lu would appear for the Battle of Geniuses. He is a legendary figure. I wonder if the headmaster will appear. It's said that the headmaster is an even more horrifying warrior. Some say that his strength has surpassed the king level and reached an unimaginable level. The headmaster is a mysterious figure. He is a top figure of the human race. He won't appear in a mere battle of geniuses. If he wants to appear, it would probably be a crisis of the entire race. Many elite students looked at the gray-robed elder with fanaticism. Seeing such a figure that would only appear in history books, they were all shocked and unable to control their emotions. Headmaster Lu, all the elite students are here. A few teachers below the square shouted. Well, since everyone is here, let's go. The gray-robed elder Lu Shuwen nodded and waved his hand. Boom, the huge battleship shook and immediately erupted with a ball of energy. It instantly engulfed the countless students on the square. In the next second, the ball of energy took all the elite students away and sucked them into the battleship. What? Xia Ping was in a daze. He found that in just a second, he had disappeared from the square and appeared in the seats of the battleship. The other elite students also sat in their seats neatly. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.